Hey everyone, it's Alex here, and on today's episode of the YaBonks Show, I have three very special guests with me today from Mineopoly. I have Ethan Saqib and Justin here with me today, and for those who don't know, Mineopoly is a Bitcoin mining project in the UAE with an unbelievably low electricity rate of 2 cents and an efficient business model that is well thought out by an experienced team. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves briefly? Maybe starting with you, Ethan?
Sure. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Thanks for having us again, Alex. My name is Ethan. I'm the CEO of AsicZ, that is our American branch, and also the CEO of AsicZ East, which is our sister branch in the UAE. And Saqib is my business partner. He is also half owner of the UAE branch. And I'll let you introduce yourself, Saqib.
Thank you for having us on, Alex. Appreciate it. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet everyone. I'm Saqib Alam. I'm the CSO of AsicZ and AsicZ East, and a co-founder of Mineopoly along with Ethan. I'm passionate about mining. I've been mining since 2016, and I look forward to bringing Mineopoly to everyone.
Cool. What about you, Justin?
My name is Justin Kramer. So I've been with AsicZ for, I think, a little over 6 months now. Before that, had my own company as well. Been mining for a long time too, and just love working with these two. I've learned it more in the last 6 months than I did probably the first 2.5 years of me mining. So
very cool. And I had a very, very long video call with Ethan and Saqib, and I learned so much from these guys, and they were kind enough to let me pick their brains for a long time, because this is a topic, Bitcoin mining, that is very near and dear to my heart. I love decentralization and Bitcoin specifically, and I love supporting real businesses and projects and teams that are out here supporting the Bitcoin network and giving us monetary freedom and privacy and control of our own banking. Bitcoin is the best money in the world right now, in my opinion. So with that being said, I'm all for any company supporting Bitcoin. Now, do you guys want to give me an elevator pitch or a brief overview of Mineopoly in your own words?
Yeah, in an elevator pitch, depending on how long the ride is, we'll just say it's a short ride. I would simply say this: how would you like to be able to acquire Bitcoin at a production cost of $6,000?
I would. You mean like getting in a time machine and going back a few years?
No, today, right here, right now.
Well, is it like, what would you do for a Klondike bar? Like, would you kill a man? I don't know. $6,000 Bitcoin. Ugh.
I would say join our project. Our project has a lot more things than that going for it, but fundamentally, that is an amazing value that our project has. I would say join Mineopoly if you'd like to be able to mine Bitcoin at a production value of $6,000 a Bitcoin.
And for the record, at the time of this recording, August 1st, 2023, Bitcoin is hovering just under $30,000, I believe. So yes, in being able to buy Bitcoin essentially at $6,000 because of, I guess, business and technical efficiencies that you guys have in your mining operations.
Power cost.
You are able to mine Bitcoin for approximately $6,000 per Bitcoin, when the retail price on the market is $30,000.
You can sell it retail for $30,000. Absolutely.
Well, I like that. You got me. I'm hooked right now. So I'm intrigued, and I'm going to break this all down. So audience, everybody listening, Ethan has broken this down, and Saqib, they have broken it down for me, and I've gone through and I've verified what they're saying in my due diligence. So it's a really exciting ride that you're about to go on, and it's super educational to learn at an enterprise level how they've gained such efficiencies in their business model. Now, before we jump into that, do you guys have any news, important dates, or anything like that you want to share with the audience before we get started?
Saqib, I'll let you handle this.
Sure. Our Tranche 1, which is our first tranche of the 5 tranches that we're doing. Tranche 1 is a 1 megawatt and there's 14 days left for Tranche 1 to close. Each mining NFT for Tranche 1 is $420. And after that, from Tranche 2 onwards, it's going to be $440. So I recommend you all get in on Tranche 1.
So you've just got 14 days left. That's it.
So, and for those who might not know what the word tranche means, that basically means like a batch of something. So, a tranche,
1 megawatt batch of miners.
Okay, and how many are you selling in this batch or tranche right now?
There are 2,250 NFTs per 1 megawatt tranche.
Okay.
And that equates to, depending on the miners that we get, but roughly 300 mining machines. It also depends on the terahash and the efficiency. So it could be plus or minus 5 or 6.
Okay. And this first tranche or batch that you guys are selling are at a discounted price of $420 per NFT.
Correct.
At which point in later tranches, they go up incrementally until they get to the standard price of $500 per NFT that you'll be selling them at, right?
Correct.
So up until August 15th or so, about 2 weeks from recording today, you can snag these for $420, at which point the prices start going up. So, all right, that's a great update. And so that's the important date, 8/15. Now, with that being said, I want to know what the value proposition is for anybody participating in your mining club. So if all YaBonks here were to get a membership NFT and one of these Bitcoin mining NFTs from the tranche, what could I expect in terms of a value proposition based on your estimates and assumptions, whatever math that you guys have crunched? And I would like to do this in a 3-step process. I want to know your conservative estimate, your wildly successful estimate. If everything just gets perfect, the planets align and you guys knock it out of the park. And then what's like in the middle, a much more realistic estimate, somewhere in the middle of those two. So could you break that down for me?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that makes our project different from all the other projects that I've seen out there is we factor in the life cycle of the miner into the project, meaning that these other projects, I've heard all kinds of stories where they're maybe setting aside 20% every quarter or something like that, hoping that when the upgrade cycle comes to the machines, that they're going to be able to have enough funds in place. And the simple fact is we just can't predict the market ahead enough into the future to accurately do that. So what we're doing is far more realistic, that when the machines liquidate, 90% of that value goes back to the NFT holders in the project. And then the tranche will refresh. So we'll create new NFTs and they'll have an opportunity to buy back in. But let's get to the nuts and bolts. You can see here on this graph, I very accurately predicted what your earnings would be over this time frame up to Q1 in 2026. And as you can see, holders should have somewhere in the neighborhood of 0.0147 Bitcoin from a single NFT. Let's go to that other spreadsheet that you had pulled up. Yeah. And let's look at all of the factors that are going into this project. So if we start off with that 0.147, and do we want the super good prediction first, or do we want the most pessimistic prediction first? I'll start with the pessimistic.
Yeah, let's start with the pessimistic. Let's use a conservative accounting principles.
This
at first
is beyond conservative. This would be an abysmal situation where most likely everybody in the crypto space would be struggling. This would be very apocalyptic. So let's say by 2026, the price of Bitcoin is now at $80,000. That would bring the value, the price per terahash of the miners would be somewhere in the neighborhood of $60. And we can correlate this with our past sales. We've been in the industry for many years, and we have many records of the correlation between the price per terahash and the price of Bitcoin. So if you do the numbers, right, at 0.0147 at $80,000, multiply that, that will give you a result. And then if you take the cost or the sale price of the terahash times 15, you're going to get a total of 2,076. And again, this would be an apocalyptic view.
Okay.
I mean, it would just be absolutely worst case apocalyptic, like zombies. Yeah, zombies are eating people's flesh. Now let's, yeah, yeah. Now let's take a look at a very optimistic view. All right, let's go. Bitcoin goes to $600,000. So let's go ahead and change the value of Bitcoin to $600,000.
Okay.
All right. At that point in time, the price per terahash would be somewhere in the neighborhood of $200 because you'd be able to ROI on a machine in weeks.
So this includes you guys selling those miners at that liquidation event in 2026 approximately, and you're saying those miners sell at a price of dollars per terahash.
$200 per terahash. If the market were to hit $600,000, if the BTC valuation were to hit $600,000, we would easily be able to sell the machines for $200 a terahash, maybe even more.
This is wild. So for anybody, if you remember just a few minutes ago, Tranche 1 NFT price. All right, $420 Tranche 1 NFT price in 2023 right now. Year 2026 estimate. All right. So you buy one of these for, I want to see if I understand this correctly. So in your optimistic scenario here, you're saying if you bought $420 NFT today, and you guys execute your business plan, your optimistic value proposition here would be almost $12,000 for that same NFT in 3 years.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's wild. And that's why I tell people, Bitcoin mining companies, especially startup ones where you get discounts like this to help bootstrap them. If everything goes well, it's a very leveraged play on Bitcoin. So instead of just buying Bitcoin at 30,000 and selling it at 600,000, you actually get a higher multiplier.
Well, fundamentally, you have two assets at play here, right? Yeah. You've got the asset of Bitcoin, which is determined by a market value. And you also have the machine that mines it, which is also an asset that has value. So you're getting a double benefit. You're not just getting benefits from one asset, you're getting benefits from two assets.
And the participants, the members of Mineopoly Mining Club, get exposure to the selling of the mining assets themselves too, because most mining projects don't give you that exposure.
They keep it.
Yeah, they keep it and roll it back into building the assets on the books or whatever. But you don't actually get exposure to that in like the hashing share that you get as an NFT holder. But in this case, you guys are giving not only sharing the hashing rewards with the NFT holders, but you're also sharing the liquidation, the sale value of those miners during that liquidation event when the time is right to do so. Is that right?
Yeah, and it's what's really cool about that is it's a true mining experience. So you get the experience of getting your new hardware, your almost next gen, newest efficient miners. You run those for a couple of years, and then you do what you should do in any market. Like you sell it towards the top. I mean, you're never going to hit the top, but you pick your point, you make your decision, and you go from there. So it really gives the NFT holder a true experience of what it's like to run a farm like this, which is what's really cool.
And I remember. Go ahead, Saqib.
Yeah, I was going to say that, and we're giving 90% of the liquidation value of the miners to the NFT holders, as well as 75% of the mining rewards, which is unheard of, in this industry. I haven't seen any other project do that.
And that 75% of the mining rewards and 90% of the miner sale value is what makes up these estimates, right? Those are included in this assumption.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
With the exception of the price per terahash, I don't think we're doing a 90% on that. Yeah. So if you could do,
let's put 180 or something there instead of 200.
Yeah, put 180 in there. Okay, that would be the 90%.
Oh, $300 less, from
oh my goodness,
from an $11,000 gain.
Everybody's gonna call you such a failure.
If you guys pull this off, this would be nuts. All right. So by the way, this is the wildly successful, everything lines up perfectly.
Yeah. So let's go
estimate.
to realistic.
All right. So
I'll put in 80,000, and this will be about 60.
Yeah, that's about 60. All right. That's the pessimistic, apocalyptic, terrible.
That's the pessimistic one.
Yeah.
Which is still a 5x on your investment.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what we started with. So that 2076 was the pessimistic.
Well, the scenario. 60 should be 54 then.
Yeah, change it to 54 to factor in the 90%. There we go.
So are you guys saying this is the average middle of the road scenario here?
No, I would say that is like if Bitcoin gets destroyed scenario. Because by 2026, Bitcoin should be in alignment with stock to flow. And if it completely fails that, this would be, the worst case scenario for 2026.
So I'm just going to put, that's the pessimistic. And we said like 1,520 was the optimistic scenario. And then what would be the average scenario?
I wouldn't call it average. I would say realistic, at least what we can see with the tools we have today to predict.
Okay, and what would that one be?
So go ahead and pull up the stock to flow. Can we take a look at that?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, and zoom to 2026 at what price Bitcoin should be according to the stock to flow.
It looks like it says 470 to 490,000.
Yeah, so let's do 480,000 as the price. And we can see historically, everyone, that it always goes above stock to flow. Even when we had a dud of a bull run last time, it still went above the stock to flow. Right. So it's reasonable to expect that to happen again.
Yeah. Okay, so using your stock to flow analysis for the next cycle, you're thinking an average 480, assuming you guys, time it above that or on it for your liquidation and everything. Okay, so let's see. You got...
And then at that point, I think the price per terahash would be, what do you say, Saqib, 150?
Yeah, I was a little pessimistic, put it in as 120, but I can do, I think, 140.
Okay, do 140 and then minus 10% from that.
Yeah, so that would be another 14, so 126.
Yeah, 126. All right, so yeah, that would be our realistic scenario.
And even though that is completely realistic and what I think is going to happen, some people, I think, might struggle conceptualizing Bitcoin near 500,000. Like let's throw 200 grand in there just to show that's still be five grand, right?
So we can call that realistic low end.
Yeah, and I just want people to see the Bitcoin that you're mining is going to be the Bitcoin that you mine. It's just what is that Bitcoin worth?
Change the price per terahash to $100.
Yeah, so that would be about 90.
Okay. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, so about almost $4,300 still. I mean, when you're looking at the percent gained in that scenario, this would be by any metric, a wildly successful trade or play, right? So assume you guys pull this off, if it lands anywhere between, I mean, if it hits the pessimistic scenario, I would be jumping for joy. If it goes in anywhere between the realistic low end and your realistic middle of the road scenario, between $4,300 and $9,000, dude, that's crazy. That's wild. And I guess that's why we are all in crypto. And, for those of us who do follow things like stock to flow, like the rainbow chart logarithmically for each cycle, this is realistic in my opinion. I think this is a fair set of assumptions and estimates. In my opinion, not financial advice, do your own research and everything, but I love these kinds of plays, these mining companies and projects, and I have a diversified basket of exposure to multiple projects and companies like this, and Mineopoly is probably going to be one of the ones I pick up and add to that basket. full disclaimer. So, yeah.
And I'd just like to point out, the math is simple. There's no voodoo or, anything opaque going on here. And we're real familiar with the process of everything. We're familiar with the process of generating a yield or an earnings from the machines. The value of Bitcoin, we really can't control. The value, the price per terahash, we can't control. That's all interdependent with the value of Bitcoin. But, the 15 terahash, all those things are transparent. So they're all things that anybody can reasonably calculate and understand. Now, the big mistake I've seen a lot of people make initially coming into our chat groups and stuff is they're only calculating the rewards as the value of this project. They're not factoring in all the other things that are involved. And so this will help give a more clear picture.
So if you guys look at their white paper, you can see the reward, the accumulated reward value going up from here, and then it hits the BTC halvening next year. And at that point, the difficulty rises. So the slope kind of, goes down a little bit. And
technically, it's not the difficulty, it's the block reward is cut in half.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And so the block reward gets cut in half. So the rewards are less, but still profitable. And if you're efficient enough, that is. And then it goes up, 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 at which point in 2026, you guys have planned liquidation events that will be, I think, community voted on, at least for this first phase. And then that's what this giant white line here, that's almost straight up. So if you sell the miner and you have your 15 terahash NFT and it's $200 per terahash that it gets sold for, that's where you get this crazy jump in additional gain on top of.
It literally goes off the charts.
Yeah. And that's why when you're calculating something like this in terms of the ROI, estimated based on assumptions, of course, not financial advice, blah, 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 blah. This is a mining club at the end of the day. However, the reason you can get these kind of values based off Bitcoin mining is not only the efficiencies and your crazy electric rate, but also you're incorporating the other assets that most companies or projects don't give you exposure to. So this almost, in my opinion, valued in terms of like a company buyout or going public, where for a tech company where you might get a 10 or 20 multiple on your actual asset value when you first get into it or something like that. So anyway, that's kind of how I think this, and that's right in line with your realistic estimates, about a 10 to 20x if all goes according to plan with this business model. My little 2 cents there. Okay, that's the exciting stuff. I wanted to show that up front because I know everybody's out here to make money, and we haven't had many good plays lately. In my opinion, this is the season of mining companies. DeFi, funky tokenomics and stuff has been abused a lot lately, so there's trust issues there. And people are looking for plays going into the next bull market. And one of the safest plays, in my opinion, aside from just DCAing into Bitcoin and Ethereum and other altcoins like that, is mining companies, getting exposure to mining companies to get those multiples as part of a healthy, diversified portfolio. Always diversify, people. It's not financial advice, but please don't go all into anything ever, and never use the rent money to invest. All right. With all that being said, there's one other thing I want to cover before we get into like the weeds here. You mentioned animal rescues, and I run an animal sanctuary, a 501c3 nonprofit charity in the state of Florida. We rescue abused animals and provide forever homes for them, medical care, the best love and treatment that we can afford them. And we facilitate other rescues in the state of Florida and Georgia and the southern, southeastern United States. Now, part of the profits from Mineopoly, if I remember correctly, is going to animal rescue efforts in the UAE. Do you guys want to explain what that's about?
Yeah, absolutely. So for those of you who don't know a whole lot about the UAE, roughly 90% of the people living there are not local. They're not native to the country. And one of the unfortunate side effects of expats that come into a country and they bring their pets with them, and then have a life circumstance change, such as they lose their job or they have to move, is there are many abandoned pets. And many of these pets have not been neutered or spayed. And so they breed and they literally generate hundreds and thousands of animals that go on and suffer in these miserable, hot desert conditions. And this is something, I'm a big softie. I love animals. And this is something I noticed immediately when I moved to Dubai. And I wanted to passionately do something about since I noticed and I realized the problem. And what our charity wants to do, or what it aims to do, is we want to do spay and neuter clinics. We also want to do adoption reservoirs where we can shelter animals and help try to find them good, happy, forever homes. And another thing that we want to do is we want to try to educate the public about the importance of spaying and neutering your pet. If we can kind of make that a cultural thing or something that is in the public eye, the public mind, we really hope we can ease the suffering. Beyond that, we want to do a humanitarian effort as well. Watching miners mine is about as interesting as watching paint dry on a wall. There's really not a whole lot of things to do. And we know that the locals that are going to be working on our farms, these are people who may not speak English well, and they may not be highly educated or well educated with life skills that can really benefit them in life. So rather than just have them waste their time at these farms, staring and flipping a power switch or whatever whenever's needed, we want to help them utilize that time and maximize that time by teaching them English as a second language, and also teaching them IT and computer skills and other useful skills that would help them grow in life.
Right.
I love that. I really do. And those two things are very near and dear to me, especially the animal rescue. I've worked with animal shelters, specifically dog shelters, nonprofit organizations in the UAE, in Dubai specifically. And I am still in contact with them. I would love to put you in touch with them.
Absolutely.
To see what you guys could do
I'm
together.
probably already in touch with them.
You probably are. And
yeah.
So
dogs get it worse than cats in the UAE because the Muslim culture sees dogs as an unclean animal. They're not welcome in the Muslim homes, and so they have it even harder than cats do.
Interesting. I did not know that. So that's I think that's great work that you're doing, and also a good cause kind of built on to this. So in addition to feeling good about just mining Bitcoin for decentralized finance sake and philosophy, but also saving some animals in a place that desperately needs it.
I can help the little kittens that live in the bush across the street from me. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I like I said, I've been working with the sanctuary there for about 6 months now. They're very great people. And they said the need for that there is huge, and it's way bigger than them, and they need all the help they can get. So that's great news, man. I'm glad you guys are doing that, and also the ESL training and occupational training for your employees there as well. I think that's fantastic. When I went to Dubai last fall with James Pelton and Drew Wolfer and Max Cashflow and like the Hydro Whales team and Project 79, I saw what you were talking about. A lot of the people, the working class folks there, it's an interesting place to say the least. So I think that's a very good cause. And if you've been to Dubai and everything, you guys know what we're talking about. So I think that's wonderful, you guys.
Yeah, like I said to you earlier, you can be one of those people that turns a blind eye to these kinds of things, or you can be the kind of person that says, I may not be able to change much, but I want to do everything I can to make a difference. And I'm the latter kind of person. I just can't turn a blind eye to some things.
Yeah, me neither, man. And that's why I end up sometimes in these real sketchy situations, rescuing animals. And I'm like, oh, I shouldn't be here. I might get murdered. What am I doing? But at the end of the day, you save a life, you take a life out of suffering, and you give it a better chance at enjoying a good life. And it makes it all worth it at the end of the day. And it's good for the soul. So when you have all the money in the world, like, what do you do then?
What are you going to do? Honestly, I I'm not at a place in life. When I was younger, I always wanted more. I wanted more and more and more. Then I became a multimillionaire. I've done it actually several times over, because if you do it just once, then it's luck. Maybe you got lucky. But if you've done it 3 times, 3 separate times,
Wow.
then you know you've got something. And once you get to that level in life, then you got to start figuring out new challenges. And I could continue to just pursue money. But I mean, what good was that doing anybody or anything? And it's more important for me to leave a legacy than to have all the money in the world.
I think legacy is important. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what my animal rescue is. My sanctuary is my legacy.
That's your
and
legacy.
My wife's legacy.
Right?
Yeah. Awesome. So I'm glad we covered that, you guys. Saqib, Justin, do you guys have anything you want to add to that in that subject?
I just want to say that I'm really glad that we're taking this initiative to make a difference, because I personally know a lot of these people, and also, I want a way to help them. And as far as the animals, I mean, just like Ethan said, in our community, we see cats and dogs, outside, and it's sad sometimes that there's no one really to speak on their behalf or to help them. And I'm just really glad that we're able to make a difference.
One way or another, I will be a voice, but I would like, for Mineopoly to be a part of this, because I think altruism is an important part of being a human being. And Bitcoin isn't just a store of wealth. It's also a new kind of freedom. And we as human beings adopting it and utilizing it should try to utilize that to enable freedom.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Wonderful, you guys. All right, so now that we're all feeling good, because I love that stuff, and anything supporting not only Bitcoin but animals and humans. I like that. So good for you guys. Also, I guess I want to jump right into the big question. How did you get the electricity rate that you guys have for Mineopoly that makes this so profitable and efficient?
So yeah, it's exceptional. It's really rare to find power costs as low as we found them, especially for grid power, and not just like polluting grid power, but it's a grid solar mix, right? And during the daytime, the grid is completely supplied by the solar energy efforts, and then at night, I believe it switches over to nuclear. But it's fairly green. If we look at other resources of energy, wind and water, they still require a resource. Wind can damage birds, and I don't know if you know about wind farms and them decimating bird populations and things like that. Yep. And hydro dams can also do the same effect with fish, but with the solar, we don't have that issue. It's probably the most greenest of the green energies that are out there. And we're really fortunate. If you want to go ahead and pull up that article,
sure.
Got a little itch here on my eyebrow. Mm-hmm. You can see that our claim of power it's been verified by multiple third parties, right? And what we're doing is we're leveraging the agricultural power.
Mm-hmm.
So that is right here, agriculture.
Mm-hmm.
It's 1.2 cents. Did I read that right?
Now, you got to understand that it's actually priced out in the local currency. So exchange rates will vary it from time to time, right? As the US dollar and the dirham fluctuate. They don't fluctuate very much. They're very closely pegged. But as they have a variance, that actual dollar value will vary. But yes, it's currently billed at 5 fils, which is the equivalent to like 5 cents in US dollars for us American-minded folks. I don't pretend to. I'm an American, so like I've got to always think of everything in dollars.
It's still the world reserve currency, right? So it's a good goal.
So I'll just hide under that as a dumb American. It's the global reserve currency. So you guys,
you know what I'm saying. You understand, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, anybody can go through and they can find this article. We're happy to share this article with them. But you can see that it's been verified by third parties. It's not just us pulling a number out of our hats. It's a real scenario. And yeah, that's the Emirates government project. So for these agricultural plots, we can upgrade the power to each plot up to 1 megawatt of power. And so that's what the tranches represent. They represent us buying one agricultural plot and upgrading it to 1 megawatt worth of power and then utilizing that power.
So each plot has you guys have a max of 1 megawatt per power per plot, and correct. you get approximately this rate for agriculture right here.
Yes. And what's really interesting is our footprint on the plot itself for the infrastructure for the mining is actually very small. So we can still utilize the plot for agricultural purposes.
Exactly. Oh, nice. And did I hear something about camel grass at some point? Is that right? Indeed. So we can grow date trees on the property. We can grow camel grass. There's a variety of local, I don't know, agriculture, I guess is the word that I'm wanting to say, that we can sell for a profit while we're mining on that site.
Yeah.
But I was curious, can you use your water curtain, your basically your dehumidifying structure in the facilities to accumulate water that can then be used for agricultural purposes on the plot?
Funny you should ask that. We actually have one of our colleagues is using the heat that is blowing off from the miners to grow cucumbers on his plot.
That's awesome.
So absolutely, we can do things like that. So that's what's really interesting and fascinating about this is it's not just a one-trick pony or the only way to make money is through mining. There are so many other options and so many other spin-offs that we can utilize the heat generated from the miners. We can utilize the water that's needed for the cooling curtains. There's so many different things that we can do that are in addition to just simply mining.
Yeah. And I think the thing to note there is the reason we're able to do those extra things is because the mining part we've already done. Like we've built these, we're building these, like that part's kind of set it and not forget it, but just kind of on automatic pilot. And then it allows us to be able to do these extra things to add value for our NFT holders. Well,
and again, that kind of goes back to our humanitarian efforts, right? We want to keep these guys, productive and energetic, healthy, valuable. So if we can get a scenario where they're growing their own food on the land, that's going to give them something to do with the lion's share of their time, but also give them the added benefit of, having control of what goes in your body. One of the things that is really important to me nowadays is knowing what I'm eating. Mm-hmm. That is so important. And, by being able to turn these agricultural plots and, generate foods that not only benefit the people on the plot itself, but also, in the general area. What do they call it? Fresh from the farm or, right. farm to table or something like that. Yeah. We can get those kinds of scenarios going. So, again, it's fascinating what you can do with a unique power situation like this.
And the other thing that's important to note, I think, is that we're licensed to mine in this area. So
go ahead and show the license.
So you're not able to, you can't mine here with the agricultural plots unless you actually have a mining license that allows you to mine crypto. So if you just scroll down a little bit.
I just want to clarify with everybody out there. So this is Saeed. This is his full name. Saeed Saqib Alam, Saeed R. Alam.
I do believe this is your father's name, right?
Yeah, that's your father's name, right?
Yeah.
And if you ever get a chance to meet Saqib's dad, his dad is like nothing like Saqib. His dad is like a party animal, right? You were talking about all your friends like getting drunk in Dubai, and so that's Saqib's dad. Yeah. and me and Saqib, we're more like you. And his dad's like, "Come on, let's go out and get some wasted, guys." And I'm like, he's like punching me in the belly, and I'm like, "I just met you 5 seconds ago. Like, who are you, dude?" But yeah, awesome. if you ever get a chance, we'll get Saqib's dad to Dubai and we'll have a big blowout with him. He's one of a kind.
Invite me, please. I'll be drinking a black tea or coffee, but I get down. I'm boisterous. I'm rowdy. It'll be fun. And one of the reasons I mentioned this is because in UAE, in Dubai, for like documents like this, they put like your name and then your father's name afterwards, and that's a custom there, correct? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's correct.
All right, and go ahead and scroll down. Yeah, and you'll see all the provisions on the license itself.
Cloud computing services, project management services, development and innovation in computer systems and programs, and cryptocurrency mining. And
specifically.
And your official email is
Saqib, that's his email.
Don't go spamming him now, but
you can spam him. Spam Saqib. He loves the spam.
And your company name here that you're doing business as is Paracans Cloud Computing Services. Is that right?
Yes, and that company, even though he is the sole owner, it is going to be held under our holding company, ASICZ East, which is registered in Dubai in the free trade zone.
Okay.
Was it the free zone or the free trade zone? I've been out of Dubai too long.
Free zone.
It's the free zone. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Good to know. And I appreciate you guys being so forthcoming with these documents when I was going through my due diligence process with your team and your companies. So I appreciate that, and I think that shows good faith on your part with transparency. Most only the projects that come onto my channel that are the ones that are forthcoming with this kind of information, because it means they're serious and they mean business, and they're real. You can go look them up. You can go call the Abu Dhabi Business Center and you can ask about this, right?
Yes.
Like,
yeah, you can ask the license number and and everything. It's all official, and you can see also from the date on there that this wasn't something that we just did out of like, oh crap, somebody said, do you have a license? Can we throw it on there? Like, we did this back in May, so before even anybody heard of Mineopoly or us or anything like that.
All right, good to know. Now, one other thing you guys were forthcoming with, which I thought was very cool of you, is the land contracts that are so special to you guys, getting that agricultural deal that the government has there, and showing that you actually are doing that. So can you explain what we're looking at?
Go ahead, Saqib.
Yeah, so this is a land contract that we have with the local owners of the agricultural plots. And these owners, these plots, either they were given to them by the government, or they've been in the family, like the father had them, and now it's the son and the daughter, and so all of these plots of land are owned by mostly locals, and we rent these plots of land directly from them. The land lease agreement is for 7 years, and we lease them for basically on a yearly renewal system, but it's for 7 years in total. The landowners, when we go to them, the first thing they want to see is that we're licensed to mine crypto in that area. And so it's not.
They won't even talk to us unless we have a license.
Okay.
Exactly. And so they are, they are fully aware of what's going to happen on their property, and they're very supportive. They know that we're going to be upgrading the power, which takes, about 90 days from the power company, and everything is written in the contract, as I said, 7 years, and it's renewed every year. And that's pretty much. I mean, this is a contract that we've actually used recently to sign with someone. I left their name out, but otherwise it's the exact same contract.
And if you look at our video of what's going on in our warehouse, that's us actually preparing that site. Those miners are being prepared for this site that we signed the contract with.
Very cool.
You have.
So you're not getting in with a bunch of noobs who are going to have to all figure it out, and they're like, oh well, we got to get a permit, or we got to get a license. We've done all that. We've done that many times. We know the process. There's not going to be any headaches with, sorry guys, I got to pay this import fee or this duty that I didn't see, or none of that. None of that. We know what we're doing.
And would this be an example then
Yes, this would be a good example. Our newer designs are actually larger than this one, because this one was actually smaller because it has a separate building that has living quarters in it. But the latest ones that we're building and that we're designing now have the living quarters built into them or built onto them.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So you guys will have people living on site 24/7 then?
Correct.
Yes.
That's great. I ask projects that all the time if their facilities have somebody on site 24/7, because if something goes down that the automated systems can't correct and maybe something needs swapped out, I think it's really important to have somebody on site to be able to call you guys at 3 a.m. and say, hey, I need to swap this out. Cool. And then they can get that fixed.
They won't be calling us directly at 3 a.m. They'll be calling our repair team.
There you go.
And coordinating that. Yeah, you don't call the CEO when a circuit breaker goes off, right? There is a chain of command that you follow. But I do plan on getting them all televisions and PlayStation 5s. So in their R&R time, they can enjoy themselves and people coming from these third world countries. Something that I found out when I was building AsicZ as a company many years back is 1 year I thought I was being really cool. I gave everyone an Amazon Fire Stick as a Christmas present. You remember that, Saqib? I gave and I was like, it's so great. You can connect up to my Plex and you can use my Netflix and, you can do all these things and we can watch Breaking Bad together and all this stuff. And it wasn't until about 2 or 3 months later that I realized, some of my downline didn't even own a television.
Oh, no.
Which kind of blew my mind. Yeah. And B, most of the ones that did have a television, they had like an old tube set. It didn't have an HDMI port or anything like that. You couldn't plug in an Amazon Fire Stick to it. So in realizing this, I want to make sure that their digs are really comfortable on our site. I want to make sure they're getting that exposure to first world living. And so I'm going to make sure there's strong internet, nice, good size TV, good size, PlayStation 5 with lots of games on it. And that's part of, getting them excited and welcoming them into English as a second language and getting comfortable with that and getting comfortable with our culture and our ways and things.
Absolutely. Now, with this video we're watching, what is this that we're looking at right now on the screen? It looks like a chainmail curtain made of cardboard or something.
It's very similar to cardboard. It's a very rigid, stiff type of paper, and it is a water curtain. And this side on the inside facing is actually there to regulate the drying of the air, right? So as we know, paper can wick away moisture, is very absorbent to moisture. And then on the back side, there's actually another cooling curtain, and it is wet. And it is responsible for cooling the air. So as the hot air goes by and it evaporates the water, it does a thermal exchange and cools that air down. Now, that evaporated water is still in that chamber, and as it flows past the second curtain, it dries it out before it goes to the miners.
And as far as the temperature, we've seen the ambient temperature outside is about 52 degrees Celsius.
I saw 54 degrees Celsius. But
and inside it's almost 50%. It's like 27 degrees Celsius. And so people ask us, how are you mining in Dubai? This is in the peak of the summer, and we wanted to show how good of a job the cooling curtain, the water curtain does, not only for reducing the temperature, but also to ensure that there's no moisture or humidity on the machines.
And actually, it's not the heat or the dust that is the biggest problem to mitigate when mining in the UAE. The biggest problem is humidity. So if there's too much humidity in the air, we have to actually soak out that humidity before we can send it across the miners so they can effectively exchange their thermal differentials. So we'll have situations where we actually have to shut off the front fans, and it's usually in the wintertime, of all irony, on a really foggy day, and we'll have to let the miners recirculate the air through the structure so it can dry it out.
Ah, okay. I see. And are you guys pumping water into this facility from
There's a reservoir between the two water curtains. There's like a reservoir well, and the water resides in there. And then as it trickles down the curtain, it goes right back into the reservoir. This video doesn't have that, but there's a different video that we have that shows that.
Yeah, and I don't have that video on hand. Is that on your YouTube channel, Saqib?
Yeah, I believe I shared it in the private chat. Let me just send it over again.
Okay.
Hold on just a second here. Yeah, it's right here. I'm just going to send it on to the private chat again.
Sure.
Right there. There you go.
Okay. Give me 1 sec to pull this up over here. There we go.
Yeah, we got to fast forward a little bit. Look at Saqib.
He's so happy. That's good.
Yeah,
It looks like you enjoy it. You look like you enjoy this.
I love mine.
We love this. We love this. Yeah. There's what the transformer looks like.
Nice.
For those who are interested in power, and those are our cars. And then and
Okay,
then
here
here is the chamber. So as you can see, there's 2 walls, and there's a reservoir, and it trickles down into that reservoir and then pumps back up. And it's all completely automated. So there's sensors that detect the ambient air and humidity outside, the ambient air and humidity inside, and adjust, the flow rate accordingly.
Right. Good to know. And do you guys have to truck water in every so often to replenish?
It depends on the site. So some sites have water already run to the site, just like electricity, and then other sites have absolutely nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good to know. And it looks like that's a very cheap and efficient way to cool and dehumidify and control the humidity in that environment. Is this all automated? Do you guys have sensors, climate control stuff set up?
Yeah, it's so this type of system has been used in poultry farms for many, many decades, and basically we're using the same technology. It's all automated.
Very cool. And so this is great. Now for Mineopoly, do you have the plot already built out with that first 1 megawatt
we don't build
plot?
out, so we never do a situation like that. So until we have all the capital to do everything from A to Z on that plot, we will not have just infrastructure sitting around doing nothing. That's a huge waste of resources and money.
Yeah. So what would the timeline be like for this? So say tranche 1 sells out in 14 days. So August 15th, 2023, tranche 1 sells out, the sale ends. Then what happens and what's the timeline?
Okay, clock starts ticking. So even before the tranche sold out, Saqib, I think 50% is what we've kind of demarked. So at the 50% mark of the tranche, we would go ahead and secure the 7-year land lease with the landowner. We're currently in negotiations with 12 or 14, I can't remember, 14 different plots of land. So we've got plenty of land out there to fill this project and many other projects. But upon the 50% mark, that's when we go ahead and secure the land. And when we secure the land and we have the lease agreement, then we go to our power contractor and we submit the request to upgrade the power to the land. Right. And then he goes to the local power utility, and that whole process takes about 90 days. Okay. Can take a little bit more, it can take a little bit less. But again, it's all kind of government work. So we don't really have any control or influence on that. Right. Yeah. And so let's imagine we get to the 50% mark. We've gone ahead and secured the land. We've done the power upgrade, and the tranche is still filling out. While all these things are going on, then we would start to build the structure on the land, right? So this is what the power request upgrade looks like. They have to
and
build
this would take about 90 days.
That takes about 90 days. That's the longest part of the project. To physically build that structure on site takes what, 3 weeks, Saqib?
Well, yeah, 3 weeks, 22 days.
Okay, so it takes about 3 weeks. So in that 90-day window, while we're waiting for the upgraded power, we're building this structure. We're ordering the shelves.
You said this takes 3 weeks to build?
Yeah, because look at it. It's just
cool.
a flat board foundation, and the rest goes up in like a couple of days.
Love it.
Right? We're ordering the fans. We're ordering the water curtains. We're ordering the shelves. We're ordering the PDUs, the network infrastructure that we need. Obviously, I'm not happy with that table, Saqib. I don't know how that little table got in there. I think this is because this is the site that has the bedrooms the bedrooms and the living room and the other structure. Okay. Normally it would not be like this. Normally this would be a nice office. So I don't want everybody to think that, we're Slim Shady because they got a little card table and a broke ass little chair. This looks like my house.
This looks like my house.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, Saqib,
you're only getting a glimpse of what my setup's like. Right. This is more my style, honestly. Yeah. But
I'm going to make it a company directive, Saqib, that we upgrade that chair at least, get something more comfortable. All right.
All right. Got it.
But we're putting together all these other parts. So when the transformer does arrive and the upgrade happens, everything's just ready to plug and go.
Sounds good. And this is a build out at one of your ASIC-Z East plots. Am I getting that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so it's a Paracan Z. So the company licensed to mine is Paracan Z. ASIC-Z East is the holding company of Paracan Z.
Okay. And then so you already have these plots built out and operating under Paracan Z.
Yes.
And the next build out that you are going to do will be under the mining
Paracan Z
club
operations.
Mineopoly. So
yeah.
Okay, so Paracan Z's already mining. You've got multiple plots already going, but the next plot's going to be Mineopoly, and then the next plot will be Mineopoly, but it's all under Paracan Z.
Managed by Paracan Z, yes.
You got the licenses.
Managed and operated, yeah.
And you guys, I mean, obviously you have the license from the UAE to do this kind of business there and to lease this type of land and build this kind of electrical infrastructure on those plots. Now, have you worked with the department of the royal family, like the offices of the royal family there, or anything like that? What's the situation there like with the local government, and do you guys have a good relationship in that regard with them?
I won't name drop. We don't have any direct connections to the sheik. I mean, we do know very powerful people over there. Mm-hmm. I'm sure if we wanted to, get connected directly with the sheik, it's not hard to do. But at this point in time, the relationships that we have, there are some operations going on utilizing those agricultural plots for mining that are being done by the royal family, not direct royal family, but cousins and uncles and things like that. So that's already been going on there. And that was going on there before we even came there and we even got licensed. And we were kind of surprised because Saqib and I were in that area for a year and a half before we just stumbled upon this, that we found out that the locals and the royalty are all mining on these agricultural plots.
Yes.
And it kind of bewildered us because we were asking people, from the day we landed, do you know about mining? Where's the best power rate? And they're all like, oh, you got to pay this and it's 8 cents a kilowatt hour. We're like, 8 cents a kilowatt? You can't make money doing that. We heard Dubai was, well, it turns out it wasn't in Dubai. It was in the next emirate over, which is Abu Dhabi, which is the wealthiest of all the emirates as well. And I think that's kind of what threw us off, is we were expecting everything to be in Dubai. And physically, where we are in the Emirate of Dubai and where these mining operations, we're actually very physically close, only about 20-minute drive away. Yeah. But we were looking in the wrong Emirate, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I see. Very cool. And Abu Dhabi and Dubai, very close to each other. And they're the two big hubs there in the UAE. I would love to go to Abu Dhabi someday. I didn't have time while I was over there, but that's on my bucket list.
It's literally from the Palm Jumeirah. It's literally a 20-minute drive.
Ah, man, yeah. So next time I go, I'll give you guys a ring.
Yeah.
So this is the website. What is your website? It's
Mineopoly.io.
Mineopoly.io, and that's Mineopoly.io.
Correct.
And you can come here. You can mint the member NFT or the mining NFT.
In order to mint a mining NFT, you have to get a membership first. But one membership allows you to mint as many mining NFTs as you want up until, the tranche limit.
Okay. And do you have to hold that membership NFT in your same wallet as your mining NFTs?
Yes, it has to be the same wallet.
And what network is this on?
Ethereum.
ERC, Ethereum ERC20.
So I would say I'm using MetaMask. I would switch over to the Ethereum network. I would come over here. I would mint a member NFT, and it says here they're $50 USDC per year.
Correct.
Can you explain the benefit of structuring your project this way?
So it was really important to us that the profits derived from mining stayed as, pure rewards for the holders. We didn't want to take funds out of the mining operation to pay for marketing efforts, to pay for membership services, building technology stacks, creating the dashboard for them. So we wanted that to be separate from the project, so it didn't leach into the overall value of what the mining NFT can bring. Beyond that, the membership gives voting rights. And we've had this question proposed to us a lot. Do I need to renew it every year? Technically, you don't. So you could renew it for the first year and buy as many NFTs as you want, hold on to them. When the second year renewal comes around, you don't have to renew it. You don't have to keep it active. And then when it comes to the tranche liquidation, we'll say 2.5 years, 3 years, you can quickly buy the NFT to get, the entire of what the tranche earned during its entire run. Which, as we saw by the numbers earlier on today, it would be well worth you to just chip out that $50, and step in for those earnings. So,
so if you have an active membership NFT, it's $50 USDC a year. And if you renew it every year, you keep getting the monthly mining rewards sent.
So you'll have the ability to log into the dashboard and set up payouts, change your payout wallet, do things like that. If the NFT isn't active, then you will no longer be able to do those things. You won't have community voting rights. You won't be invited to special tours in Dubai and things like that. Other things that we're really planning to do for the community. And that's why our membership, I don't think it's the most expensive out there. I mean, for me, $50, it's like 3 cents a day. And we had people just crying over, it's like, trust me, we're going to make it worth your value. It's not meant to rip you off or to stick you to anything. And beyond that, we can't predict how many memberships are going to be bought. So if we have one guy come in and he buys one membership and then he buys 1,000 NFTs, well, then, we've only generated like $700 in membership fees, and I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to eat that out of my own revenue earnings to pay for everybody's, special features. Hopefully that won't happen, but we don't have any control if that does happen, right?
So one of the main benefits here, aside from giving like the voting rights, access to the custom dashboard and all that, and setting up your payouts. If you set up your payouts and then you don't renew the membership the next year, do you keep getting those payouts every month?
If you set up the payouts to automatic, so we're going to run our payouts very similar to how the mining pools work, where you reach a certain threshold and then you can collect the rewards without paying any kind of transactional fee. We're going to do something similar to our back end as well. So theoretically, if you just set up, your Bitcoin wallet and then you just automated it, like, when it reaches the threshold, send it to this wallet. When it reaches the threshold, it would continue to do that, even if your membership lapsed. But if you needed to go in and change that for whatever reason, then you'd have to buy the membership to get back in and adjust the settings.
All right, good to know. And when the liquidation event happens at the end of whatever period that mining NFT is valid for, when you guys go to sell those miners and give that liquidation big boosted payout to the mining NFT holders for however many terahash per NFT they've got, do they have to have their membership still active in order to receive that
Absolutely.
big payout at the end?
Absolutely. And so that was kind of the conundrum that we got into, and it says it in our white paper that it is with community approval. So if we had an unusual situation, so we don't have any KYC or anything like that, but let's just say you bought a substantial number of NFTs. You bought 50, right? So that's a substantial number. And bless your heart, Alex, I love you to death, and I would be devastated to find out that somehow you had passed away, right?
Right.
But now you are no longer with us. Your wallet was a cold wallet that unfortunately your wife either forgot the password to or accidentally typed it in wrong too many times. It's now locked out.
She'll never figure it out. I've tried.
Yeah. Right. But you're understanding the scenario that I'm painting here. Yeah. So we now have a situation where, we have funds that are potentially abandoned or unrecoverable. And we want to give the community the option to decide what to do in that event, right? Because we don't know exactly what those circumstances might be, but we want to have the flexibility of the community to do that. So what we suggest is that we would go ahead and pay it out to that wallet as a lump sum. But let's say your wife reaches out to me. She knows you're part of this project. She reached out to me. She reached out to Saqib, and she's like, please don't pay it to that wallet. I don't have access to that wallet.
Right.
All right. I need those funds. Those are for his legacy. Those are for his whatever, right? So we want to have the ability. We don't want to grandfather it in. We want to have the ability to put this case in front of the community and say, community, what do you think? Should we, change the destination wallet address and send Alex's funds to his wife, his widow, where she can reach them and she can do what needs to be done, for his legacy with those things. We want to have that flexibility. And that's why it's structured and written into our white paper the way it is.
Okay. All right. Interesting. That's an interesting consideration there. Now, in terms of legal aspects or regulatory stuff, I know crypto is undefined for a lot of us, and things are still up in the air. Is there any regulatory benefit to structuring this as a membership versus doing it a different way?
Yeah, Saqib, I'll let you get this.
Yeah, so because it is a membership, it is a mining club, like you said, and members that are a part of this club are the ones that are basically able to vote on community voting rights. I mean, for the first 2 years of this project, or for the first 2 years of a tranche, once it's running, the community will be able to vote on when we liquidate the miners, for example. After the first 2 years, from the third year on, that is at our discretion because of our experience of bull and bear cycles and multiple market cycles. We know when the best time is to sell your miners. But just community voting rights like that, the membership allows you to have that. And because it is a membership, because it is a club, that does protect us from being called a security or things like that.
Absolutely. And that's, I think, the most important thing for people to know. I actually prefer this model when it comes to this stuff because it gives me an extra layer of protection and otherwise fuzzy regulatory situation where things change all the time, and doing things in a club, a membership club, you get a lot more flexibility to do things. Like, for instance, the YaBonks club. I have a YaBonks club. If you're a member of the YaBonks members only club, then you get access to my giveaways that I do, and I'm allowed to do creative giveaways that otherwise might not be technically legal if I did it just like willy-nilly to the public, because it'd be considered like, a lottery system or gambling. But if you have a club, you can do whatever you want with that. I could do giveaways however I want with and you can look this all up. You get so many more freedoms if you have your own club with a membership, and it's kind of cool how in crypto you can get other benefits as well with regulatory stuff. So
one other thing to mention is that we are mining straight Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is not a security. It is the only asset that's been deemed as
tested many times.
So
as a commodity, right? The SEC stated Bitcoin is a commodity and not a security.
Exactly, and we are mining it. So
absolutely, and the second way this the setup you have kind of protects people from that regulatory uncertainty is not only you guys are only sticking with Bitcoin, right? You're not mining anything else, and so you're mining a commodity. You're sharing in the hashing rewards, and so you're not paying out like a cash dividend or anything like that. Like this is nothing like that. This is a mining club, and in that club, if you get these mining NFTs, all they give you exposure to is mining rewards for however many terahashes that NFT is worth. And when you guys liquidate the terahash producing asset, you get that too, right?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Love it. So that's great. I think that's well thought out. So if you go to the website, then say you get your membership NFT, you do it on Ethereum. Are gas prices a concern for you guys on Ethereum?
Not right now. Usually, if you mint during the weekends, we've seen that the prices are a lot lower. And right now Ethereum gas fees are pretty low. It's about $2 to $3.
It's not even just the weekends. Like you were pointing out the other day, Saqib, it's when the stock market's open. If you just don't run between the operating hours of the stock market, you should be fine. But really, I mean, gas fees, I'm still kind of struggling to understand why that's a big stick in the mud point. I mean, it's just a part of crypto for me. I've been doing crypto for years and years and years, and you just, you got to pay to play. You got to pay to send Bitcoin. You got to pay to do any kind of transaction. Fundamentally, when the last Bitcoin is mined, that is how the miners who will do the work will get paid for the work that they do, is they'll get paid through transaction fees. So, I mean, it's just something that comes along with the territory. I don't understand why it's such a sticking point for people.
I think people have PTSD from when Ethereum would be like, oh, it costs you $20 to approve something, and then $20 to actually do the thing that you're paying $20 for. So you're paying $60 for a $20 thing, and or just to even send funds somewhere, which it's not as bad when you do that. But did I see an announcement in your Discord about something that you guys are doing for people who are overly concerned with?
Yeah, I mean, every now and then we'll offer free gas. Our free gas week is already up, but I think what I would suggest, Saqib, is the first week of each tranche.
Sure. Yeah, it's a good idea.
Cool.
Yeah, let's
just in case Ethereum starts going crazy again unexpectedly. You guys, for the first week of each tranche, you guys are offering reimbursement for gas fees up to $20. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, cool. Good to know. I think that's really a nice way to do it. And I understand why people pick Ethereum. It's the longest standing EVM network and most popular, most users and capital. So these are $420 though for this first tranche though. So an extra $1 or $2 in gas fees for the amount that you save doing it now versus the next one. Negligible in my opinion. Okay, cool. And this is for 2 years of community controlled mining, reward distributions, 15 terahash per second at 420 watts. Awesome. So that's
very simple. It's very straightforward. Like I said, there's no hocus pocus or magic or a kickback of a kickback of a kickback. Like I've seen all these other projects doing, like, and if you stake this and if you do that, you'll dividend it. And that in itself always raises red flags to me. Like if it's not straightforward, pure and simple, and if I can't understand how is money being made, you give us 10% into the liquidity manager protocol, and it gets rolled around. And when people exchange and cash out, and it's like, and it's like, I can't see how this is all working. That's a huge red flag. So we try to make this just really bone dry, plain and simple, straightforward.
I like simple. And that's what's so great about Bitcoin mining projects and companies that keep it simple, stupid. The KISS principle as an engineer.
You saw our facility, right? It's just water and air. It's like, it can't be more simple than that. And exactly, simple systems are more robust. They're less prone to fail. And they're fantastically more efficient, right? The more little pieces and little moving things you get going on, the more kind of wear and tears of things, the more failure points. Anybody who's building systems like that, I mean, God bless them, but that's not how you succeed in business. Like I said, I've been a multimillionaire 3 times in this life, and I didn't get there by building really intricate things. I did it by just doing very simple, straightforward things and doing it very, very well.
Yes. Scope creep can be an exponentially expensive thing in business in terms of money and man hours and work. So no, this is great. I love that you guys are keeping it simple. You've got put as much in place to protect participants from regulatory issues as much as possible.
Absolutely.
And you've got the lowest electricity rate of anybody I've ever heard of right now. And I've interviewed probably a dozen
and it's verifiable
companies.
Yeah, it's not like we're just pulling some number out of the hat and say, oh, we got some secret contract. This is public knowledge.
Yeah, this is great. Now, with that being said, once this, the cat's out of the bag, if you will, as you guys get more attention and exposure, which is going to happen inevitably, are you concerned about competition coming in and trying to do the same thing?
I lose sleep about that every night, to be honest. That's why it's really important for us. Everything in the UAE is really about relationships. I think in my younger days, I was told it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yes.
We are now directly connected with the power utility companies themselves and their contractor agents. And there's not very many people that can do this kind of work. Abu Dhabi is a relatively small emirate. So what would you say, Saqib, is maybe 20, 25 guys that can do this?
Yeah, it's not that many. You can count them on one hand.
Oh, really? So it's not even 20. What's the number?
I would say 10 max, 10 tops.
10, okay. So we know for sure, 5 of them?
Yeah.
All right. So we know 5 of them. And, if anybody were to try to come into the territory, well, first of all, we also know the landowners, right? So it's a 2-part deal, right? You've got to know the government officials that do the power, and you've also got to know the landowners. And can somebody duplicate what we've done down there? Yeah. Is it going to be easy for them? We're not going to make it easy for them.
Yeah.
I think they would be better off just trying to make some sort of arrangement with us because, again, unless they're really seasoned and they know what they are doing. Now, I mean, our biggest fear is like a riot or a marathon is going to come in there and just, because they've got the money to buy it all up. If Foundry, right? If Foundry wanted to do it, Foundry could buy every single one of those plots of land like that. And they could pay double what we're paying and we would never be able to match them. And those kind of nightmare scenarios, they do keep me awake at night. They do kind of haunt me. Sometimes I'll reflect on things that I have said in an AMA and say, did I show too much? Did I say too much? The truth of the matter is, in this industry, it's a completely different world. The NFT space is a completely different world than the mining space. If you go in the mining space and you say my name, Ethan Zurka, they're going like, oh, you know him? Oh, he's great. I've worked with him for years. I went to Bitcoin Miami with Justin a few months back, and I shaved my beard, and everybody knows me with my beard.
Yeah. And
it took some people some time to recognize me. Once they realized it was me without the beard, like they were all like chasing me, and I was like, "See, Justin, this is what happens when you stay in the industry for a while." And he was like, "Gosh, like everybody's saying hi to you, and everybody knows you." But in the NFT space, I think the odds are relatively low that, Foundry or and Foundry, Mike Collier, DCG, we're friends on LinkedIn. Reach out to me, Mike. Don't try to buy this all out from underneath me. We're friends on LinkedIn. Mike Collier is the CEO of DCG, which is the owner of Foundry and Coinbase and all these other digital coin groups.
Interesting.
So Mike, do the right thing, Mike. Talk to me first.
So you guys are getting the first mover advantage, and there's a lot of hoops you have to jump through. You got to know a lot of the right people, and you guys are going to have this already running by the time other people even get their business plans put together.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, currently we've got 5 megawatts running there. We've got 14 plots that are kind of ready, waiting for the deals to be signed, waiting for all the capital to come in. I think if we can secure, 50 plots, which would be roughly the equivalent of 50 megawatts, I would be happy. I want to do good things. For me, it's not about, just having the ultimate in power and money. Mm-hmm. And with 50 megawatts running, I think we could do very good things. Anything really beyond 100 megawatts in that area, I think is going to start raising the wrong kind of attention. Yeah.
Yeah. And,
that's when the power. Yeah.
I know viable mining, small businesses that they're viable at 7, 8, even 8 cents. They're still viable. I know profitability metrics, but if you're looking at like asset valuation and a buyout scenario for the assets on the books after so many years, like you can build a business like this in other places, but you guys with your setup here, it's just multiple fold more profitable. So you guys have wiggle room, a margin of error, and just crazy returns if you guys are efficient. So it's, I think you guys have found and taken advantage of probably the best electricity opportunity I've heard of. And I think other people are doing similar businesses in other places, and they're going to be successful too, but maybe they're going to be successful at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cents. And you guys at 2 cents are just going to be, knocking it out of the park. In my opinion, as long as you guys don't fumble the ball, but it sounds like you guys have been doing this for a while already. So, yeah.
If we fumble the ball, I will be the first to tell you it was either somebody internally trying to sabotage us or it was intentional. There shouldn't be a fumble by us.
Yeah. And the other thing that you have to remember is, we're in a race against the halvening, because the halvening is coming up, in 7, 8 months. Yes. And this is our time to really make as many take advantage of the power cost and make as much Bitcoin as possible.
Maximize the opportunity.
Yeah, because after the halving, I mean, 6, 7, 8 cents power might be profitable now, but they're not going to be profitable after that.
They're not going to survive the halvening.
And so
it'll be rough. Those other companies in those situations will have to have a plan and reserves for a runway of a period for things to kind of balance out as other people exit. Yeah. And then things kind of will balance out again. And if they don't have that, they're going to be out of luck and out of the game. So
we've seen it happen many, many times before. It's all part of the cycle. And what's interesting about this bear market is we haven't seen that capitulation yet. Yes. We believe it will happen after the halvening. We think after the halvening, for at least 60 to 90 days, the market is going to be exceptionally low. Not exceptionally low, but it's going to be unprofitable for at least 70% of the operations that are out there. And they can survive 1 bad month, maybe 2. They don't make it 3. That's when they have to close up shop.
They have to have cash reserves, or they're going to have to start liquidating Bitcoin. And if they don't have that runway to survive that, they're going to have to tap out or get into some compromising situations with loans and things like that. So you definitely have an advantage there. That's very obvious. So I think you guys will be sitting pretty in that situation. Now, with your
will easily survive.
With the miners, is there anything you would like to say about your choice of ASIC miners that would also, be beneficial to your project? Have you guys thought that all through?
Yeah.
Well, everybody, uses the simple logic is the most profitable miner is the best miner that you should choose. And it's not that simple. It really isn't that simple. I wish it was. It would have saved me and Saqib. We would have been millionaires years ago if it was that simple. The truth of the matter is you want to look at which miner generates the most value, creates the most value over its life cycle. And that includes a factor of how many rewards it can generate or how much terahash it can produce. It also is a factor of efficiency, how many watts per terahash it uses. And then there are two other factors that people don't consider is how reliable is the machine.
Yeah.
Right. So if we look at the most efficient machines on the market, like the S19 XPs, they're actually terrible. I mean, we're seeing failure rates as high as 60% in some cases. Brand new.
Wow.
Brand new machines plugged in, they'll run for a day and then fail. And then you've got, the 3-month repair cycle because you have to ship it off to Bitmain. Fortunately, Bitmain now has repair facilities all around the world, so you don't have to ship it back to China. But back in the day, you had to ship it to China. You had to pay the duties going in. You had to pay the duties coming back. And 3 months, and then guess what? You plug it in, it works another day and breaks. And we've seen that happen time and time again. And you can only imagine if 60% of your mining fleet was just constantly in a state of flux or repair. How could you be profitable? How could any of your predictions, be accurate? They're not. They're going to be way off the marker. So the next part of this equation is picking machines that are tanks, that are well documented, well known in the industry to perform well, that have minimal issues, because uptime is a factor. Every second that you're not mining, you're losing. Right?
I agree.
And then the last part that you have to consider is, what value is it going to have? You have to kind of look ahead in the future, and you have to think to yourself, what value is this going to have to the market in the future, right? Is it going to be the S19 that's mining at 32.5 watts a terahash? Or is it going to be the WhatsMiner M50 that's mining at 28 watts per terahash, right? Yeah. And those little tiny differences, those make a huge difference in the bull run. Because people know those little numbers count. And so you factor in all those factors, right? And that's when you come up with a machine that is going to be best for your mining operations.
Yeah, and that's awesome. You guys have that experience and knowledge working with these machines already to figure out which ones are more robust and easier and cheaper to maintain over time. Now, one thing I always ask mining projects is, do you have something like a sinking fund or a reserve that you put some of the profits into in case of unexpected repairs
that would
or
be
replacements?
The treasury.
Yeah, the treasury.
That would be the treasury.
Okay. And how much are you guys putting towards the treasury from
10%.
The mining rewards?
10%.
10%. And then that treasury goes to paying all operation costs, but also acts as a reserve and a sinking fund in case of maintenance.
Or just like you said, things can happen in a farm where there's a short circuit, and let's say maybe 3 machines are just completely fried. Like you can't repair them, you can't replace a chip on them. You just need to actually just replace them.
Yeah,
that's where that 10% would come into play to handle a situation like that.
So if you scroll up a little bit, you'll be able to see the exact right there. Yeah.
There
so the NFT. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And one other thing. Yeah, okay, so you've got do you have any insurance or warranties on the machines that you guys are buying?
Generally, in the mining industry, even if a manufacturer supplies a warranty, you might as well just pretend like it doesn't exist. Your better option, your smarter option, is to buy machines that already have a well-established provenance history of being good performers and good reliable performers. And since we're in the industry for so long, and since we deal on an institutional level, we can get exposed to that information very fast. So we can get the inside scoop. We know who gets the first orders of the new S19J Pro Pluses, and the first thing that they do before they even plug them in is they take them apart and they look at them. They want to see what's different. They take pictures, they send it with us, and then we kind of all have, give our opinions, like, this design sucks or this design's an improvement. Oh, they cut corners here. They try to save money there. And then, what's really interesting is the other institutional players will then go back after this autopsy and they'll go to the manufacturer and they'll say, you cut corners here. These diodes are too cheap. These capacitors are substandard, and they will beat down the price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they'll be able to reverse engineer what the actual cost is. And they'll say, we know what your cost is. We're going to order 10,000 of these. This is the nature. This is the level of how the game works now. Since we're exposed to all this information, the smart thing is not to depend on warranties or anything like that, but to just buy right the first time.
Okay.
And that's what we intend to do.
All right. Good to know. So one thing I wanted to ask earlier when we were talking about competition or other similar companies wanting to do the same thing, do you guys plan to lease out your mining facilities and infrastructure to other projects or companies that want to do Bitcoin ASIC mining or any kind of ASIC mining?
I will say this. There are a lot of projects that are in the wild, that are in the NFT space, that I know for a fact you are going to struggle. You're going to struggle to meet the promises and the expectations that you've cultivated in your community. And I'm not saying that you did these things intentionally. I'm saying that inexperience in this business, you don't know what you don't know until you know it, and now you know it. For those projects, I would like to extend out my experience and my expertise and my opportunity. Reach out to either myself or Saqib personally, and we will do everything in our power to make it right, to
Awesome.
make your operation succeed.
I love that attitude. I'm all about entrepreneurs helping each other succeed, because I don't want to view these mining companies and projects, especially in like our small sector that has all this innovation right now. I want us to look for strategic partnerships where we can all help each other win. We're all trying to support the same decentralized monetary networks. So I also extend the same invitation to anybody who needs to get in touch with Ethan or Saqib and is interested in utilizing what he just said. I'll happily put you guys in touch free of charge. I just want everybody, especially these entrepreneurs working so hard out here, to have the best fighting chance to succeed with their businesses, because everybody that wins out here makes it more likely for us all to win as a whole.
I agree. Yeah,
absolutely.
Now, so with that being said, do you guys plan to ever or potentially utilize other projects' mining facilities to host some of your ASICs, to leverage their infrastructure, to add geographical redundancy, or for cross-marketing promotion across multiple communities? Are you guys open to that kind of thing? Even though you might have a higher electricity rate going somewhere else, but with those other considerations, would you consider it?
Well, for the Mineopoly project itself, I think the UAE is where it's at. There's just really nothing better. But we do have other operations, and we are aligned with other institutional level mining operations all around the world, in the US, Paraguay. North Africa is becoming a hot spot recently. So I think I'm going to put that on our 2024 list to explore inroads into North Africa and what they have in terms of power availability and power costs and stability of governments and things like that. So being in this space, we are global, and we're constantly keeping our eyes and ears open to the opportunities that are available. Thank goodness we didn't go to Russia. Thank goodness. So many of our partners did end up going to Russia. They went to Bit River. And then when the sanctions came on, there's literally hundreds of thousands of machines that are trapped there.
Wow.
That cannot leave.
I did not know that.
So, and it's really important to, not just chase the good power, but also understand the political landscape, right? And so we chose the UAE, with this knowledge and with this experience behind our backs. We didn't do it as a light decision or just say, oh, power is great, we're going here, right. Which tends to be a big mistake that we've seen happen over and over in our industry. I think Kazakhstan was another issue like that, where they had like an agricultural subsidized power. Everybody and their mama flew over there, and then all of a sudden the government changed the rules. And on top of that, seized the miners, seized the machines.
Yikes.
So, haven't seen all these things. So you don't know how things can go wrong until you've seen like all the different ways it can happen. And that's something that can only come with experience. You can't learn that from a piece of paper. You can't learn that from a news article. You learn that, by being in it day in and day out, and knowing the people that got screwed over and hearing their story and then hearing the other side of the story. I mean, years and years of being exposed to that, there's wisdom to that, that's really important. But that being said, we're always exploring globally for cheap power solutions. Ecuador is another place we're considering because they have geothermal. But at the end of the day, sure, you kind of keep those doorways open, but you go with what looks the best overall in totality, and then you use those as kind of a backup or a plan B or a plan C. Right now, the UAE is where it's at. Will it last forever? Nothing lasts forever. I've never seen anything last forever in the crypto mining business. If there's anything that I'm absolutely sure of, is that the landscape 3 years from now will be completely different from how it is now. But that's the thing is we're always keeping our eyes and our ears open, looking for what's next, and staying on top of that.
I agree. I think it's good to always keep that stuff on the forefront of your mind and be ready to act accordingly. And so I guess one of my questions was, UAE seems like a prime location for this at the moment. Do you guys foresee any other political or jurisdictional risks that could affect you? And do you have any plans of how to mitigate those risks?
Currently in the UAE, as I explained, any kind of change of the situation would be cutting your nose off to spite your face. It would penalize locals and royalty the same as it would penalize us. Is it possible that may happen? Yeah, it's possible. Are they going to go to something crazy like 8 cents a kilo? No, they'll still be 3 cents, 3.2 cents. So yeah, there may be some slight changes over there. I don't see anything happening instantly. I don't see the sheikh waking up one morning and then just making a decree. And even if he could do that, don't they have to go through a court, Saqib? They've got like a special sheikh court, right?
There's a royal court, basically.
Yeah, there's a royal court where they have to go through. So they can't just make impulsive changes and decisions. And one of the things that's beautiful about the court system over there is it's very slow, just like any court system, I guess. But if a change like that were coming down the pipeline, it would take like a year or more to implement. That would give us plenty of runway to figure out, what to do next, where to go next. And, the option may be just to completely liquidate out, and then keep the project in a form of stasis until we find another place to land. That's the nature of the business, right?
Absolutely.
And you got to be understanding that. So, immediately anybody in the mining industry that's giving you open-ended promises or promises, what I say into infinity, that don't have an end date or don't predict an end date, you should immediately be wary of that, because it's not so. You have to get in the door the right way, and you have to get out of the door the right way to maximize the, being miners and being in this industry. Yeah. And if they're not planning both of those, entrance and exit, immediately have some red flags up.
Yep, I think an exit strategy is very important, and I'm glad yours is so well defined so people can know what to expect, assuming all goes according to plan. and you've also got contingencies in place in case regulatory things change and you have to pivot. However, as you said, the UAE is very friendly to this kind of stuff. When I was there, I read all sorts of things about how the Sheikh and the UAE is trying to incentivize intellectual and economic talent
Absolutely.
to come to the UAE, and they are willing to go out of their way to roll out the red carpet, if you will, to get entrepreneurs, businesses, PhDs, engineers to come work there, build there, start businesses there. There's no income tax there, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. And it's a very economically friendly and prosperous place for businesses to go start. And they are trying to do that to build up their economy and prosperity as a whole. So I think you guys are probably, in my opinion,
we haven't reached the heyday of it yet. I think the heyday of it is maybe 5 to 7 years down the road. And that's why we're confident to sign these leases for 7 years. I think we'll be able to utilize all 7 years before we really have to look for that pivot point, which would be exceptional. In the mining industry, if you can keep a good thing going for 7 years straight, that's a record as far as I know. I've never seen anything stay consistent for 7 years in the mining industry.
I don't even ask beyond 7 years. At some point, I'm going to ask you guys about your future. Like, where do you see yourself in X amount of years? I don't even ask beyond 5 years in this space because it's so up in the air. It's like, it's changing and evolving so fast that if you last 7 years, you must be extremely persistent and successful, probably at that point.
Yeah, you're if you can last longer than 3 years in the mining space, then you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right. Because you fuck around and you find out real quick in this space. There's no joke. It's brutal. It is not forgiving. Yeah. Most of the money pours in during the bull run. We had guys come in. Hey, I got $50 million, man. Can I get 2 megawatts? I mean, people were willing to pay $50 million for 2 megawatts. And that's about how much the miners cost. And everybody was telling them, like, dude, you know, wait till the correction happens. Wait till the bear market happens. Don't throw away, waste your money. No. I'm a real estate tycoon mogul and I can figure out any problem. And I got this $50 million pocket change to me and I'm going to, and they lose it every single time. They lose it.
Timing is so important in this business, in this industry. And that's why I said at the start of this interview that I believe this is the season of mining companies. If you for the people starting their mining companies right now, that is the sweet spot. The miners are extremely undervalued. You can pick them up cheap. Yeah. You can get them running. You can start making higher returns with that before the halvening comes. And then even after the halvening, you're probably going to see a dip or whatever. But once things start going into that bull run, the amount Bitcoin and those miners are going to go up in value is going to be astronomical. And you're going to be positioned to receive as much of that upside as possible. And if you've thought out long-term, not only your entrance strategy, but your exit strategy, like we just said, then you can basically time this out with the stock to flow ratio, rainbow chart, whatever you're using to say, we're going to start accumulating when everything's undervalued like crazy right now, before things get crazy overvalued. So it's like in the previous cycles, it's like you're buying up everything right here, and then you're going, and your exit strategies
exactly here. Where we should be in the cycle, doing what we should be doing. Right. This is where we want to get people in. We want to buy machines. We want to build, and we want to mine, because this is where you maximize your opportunity and yield. Right. It doesn't get any. By the time the bull run's here and everybody's in a frenzy to spend, it's too late. You've missed it.
Yeah. Those people are going to spend their money regardless. No matter what you tell them.
There always is. Oh, I know.
The greed factor.
Steve, I was like, we have to take their money, because if we don't, somebody else is going to do it and they're going to do them wrong. Like, we have to try to do something.
They'll be offended if you don't. Even if you advise them, it might not be the best time, and there's like, I don't care. It's going to infinity right now. Whatever, man.
Well, and that's another thing about what we're doing with our operations this time around is last time we made the mistake. Well, basically everything just kind of caught everybody by surprise. But, we had, if you imagine mining is kind of like having a hotel, right? We had a hotel where we had all the rooms filled and we didn't have any like extra addition being built or anything. So once that hotel got filled, and everybody was like, just scrambling for a place to plug into mine, especially when the exodus of China came. Yeah. We were stuck in a bad situation where we were like, well, we don't want to unplug our machines to make room for your machines.
Yeah.
Like even if we can charge you more for electricity. And so we kind of learned from that experience, like, okay, this time around, let's have that continue, let's have that extra space that maybe we can soak up real fast in case, things flip around and it gets crazy again. So hopefully when all is said and done, you're talking about, looking ahead 3 years in the UAE. So hopefully when all is said and done, we'll have roughly around 50 megawatts operational in 3 years, with another further 20 to 25 megawatts that are what I would call in a sort of standby. Like what we want to do is we want to have the infrastructure at the ready, but maybe utilizing those plots strictly for agriculture and just producing agriculture. And then as the bull comes, then say, vacancy in our hotel, please come and join us.
That's a good play. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. That's a good
or
idea.
Even just simply sell them. I mean, we could probably sell them for, like, if we invest, like a full build out is about 350K, 333K or something like that to do the upgraded plant, power. We could easily sell those for, I don't know, 5 million, 8 million each when the bull run comes.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, that just might, like literally for $1 million, we could build out 3 plots that we could probably generate, somewhere in the neighborhood of, 10, $12 million, 50, maybe even 15 million. I don't know. The numbers kind of get mind boggling, but you basically, you invest $1 million, you get $15 million back in 2 years, something like that.
Jeez.
And I think that's what kind of sets us apart is, we're a mining company first that is, giving Mineopoly as an opportunity for people to get back into home mining instead of, developing. Like most projects are developing an NFT project and then they're learning about mining, and then they're trying to direct the investments towards mining, and they're learning as they go. Whereas we're a mining company, we are going to be expanding no matter what happens to Mineopoly. So that's a goal. But what we wanted to do is, give out a small part of our operations to the home miners and bring back home mining, because Ethan and I, we've been in it since 2016, and we've seen that the home miners are almost not.
Yeah, they're gone. Yeah, the mom. I mean, when I first started doing this, I would go to ranches in Texas, and I would meet a guy that had like a barn or like a warehouse kind of, how farm ranches, like they have those big out sheds or whatever.
Those pole barns, yeah.
It's metal. It's like a metal, I don't know.
A pole, like a pole barn kind of thing.
Yeah. But he'd have like nearly a megawatt of power, and he'd have like 200, 300 machines. You remember Brian, right, Saqib?
Yeah.
I miss him, and he would tell you, the good old days. You go out and meet him, and he'd say, I remember when I was mining 2 Bitcoin a day.
Yeah,
day, every day.
That's awesome.
And then he'd show you his wallet, and he's got like 1,000 Bitcoin and stuff. I mean, I remember these guys. They're gone now. This cycle, they're gone because it's not something an everyday person can afford anymore. You have to be at this institutional level to get into it. And remember when I was telling you about like the miner autopsies and things like that, this big business has gone in and taken this to another level, right? They have their own engineers on site. They'll autopsy it. They'll do a value engineer, write up like this is what it should cost for this and that. They've got analysts, right? And then you've got, huge power purchase agreements, right? So there's a whole nother flip side to this business that didn't even really exist, where you have these Wall Street types going to these power companies and buying power futures and then leveraging those futures and selling, like just doing crazy Wall Street crap that never existed before in this industry. But that's the level it's being played at now.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
The home miner wouldn't even be able to plug in the current generation of miners, in their home, which is something that we were able to do before back in the day. And so and not just that. I mean, they won't be able to get access to the power rate that we have, and so we're able to provide both.
Yeah.
My buddy, Down Home Crypto with Serenity on YouTube. He's a journeyman electrician registered in the US, and he's also in a crypto and DeFi and mining. And he made a really great video showing how to rewire your home for 220 volts to run Bitcoin ASICs. And it's his disclaimer is hilarious. He's like, "Don't do this. It's super illegal. Get a qualified electrician to do the work for you. But this is exactly what you got to do."
Well, even if you do that, though, like your max service is 200 amps, right?
Right.
Yeah, you hit a limit quick, and especially with AC,
that's a
and
maximum
everything.
of 10 machines, and again, just allowing the overhead for the AC and the heater and stuff like that, unless you want to be blowing fuses. But maximum you could do as a home miner is maybe 10 machines.
Yeah, and even then, like what if you're getting even 8-9 cents,
even if
which is insane. Which is insane. You're going to make what, $1 to $3 a day if you've got the right machine.
Bingo.
If you got the right machine, and like, are you going to ROI on that? Obviously, you're going to have to sit on that Bitcoin for a while and time things right. Are you willing to do that and sit on that and take unprofitable periods to mine at a loss? Who knows? That's why I love companies and projects like these, where I can grab an NFT from this project, an NFT from this project, kind of spread my risk around, and then you guys do all that work for me. You guys get the economies of scale for me. You guys get the electricity rates I could never afford, and I get to do this in a decentralized fashion where I don't have to KYC. And then I can be part of just a mining club where my Bitcoin wallet's just filling up with commodities. You know what I mean? And I love these things, you guys. If you couldn't tell, these are my favorite plays right now. So, and you guys have a really interesting model, probably the most efficient that I've seen yet. So, real quick, I've got a couple due diligence questions I just want to run through super fast. Well, I guess first off, before we jump into that, what do you think is the best strategy for participants in your project?
The best strategy? Can you?
If somebody is just like, if somebody wants to make the most amount of potential money participating in Mineopoly, what's in just the most simple language, what's the easiest thing for them to do? Just what do they get? What
I would do is I would buy one membership, and then 10 mining NFTs would be a total of 150 terahash. I'd skip the second year renewal membership, and I would hold off and hang out in the Discord and the chats until the liquidation came to become near, or talks of voting about liquidation. Then I would renew my membership and get back involved, get my votes counting, and like I said, proceed on to be a part of the community with the liquidation process. That's what I would do.
And hodl your Bitcoin.
And I'd hold the crap out of the Bitcoin. I honestly, I don't know. I'd probably keep a percentage of the Bitcoin, always as Bitcoin, because that's, when you get the most value of it. Or another interesting thing that we could do with this project is when we refresh the tranche, we can make the tranche payable in Bitcoin. So they can use the Bitcoin that they've earned from the rewards and from the liquidation to just flip that right back into the project, and then keep the remaining Bitcoin for themselves. But yeah,
interesting. So if I understood this correctly, the what you guys think would be the best strategy for somebody wanting to get into Mineopoly would be get a membership NFT and then buy like 10 the mining NFTs, whatever,
Yeah.
you know,
It's
is
150 terahash.
150 terahash, whatever is affordable for them, and then just accumulate the rewards. And then second year, don't even renew the membership potentially, but stay on top of the Discord announcements.
I'm gonna be honest, like I'm a cheapskate, so if there's any way I could save that $50, I'd save it.
Me too. And I appreciate you saying that, because people are gonna be like, how am I gonna, you know, so you're very upfront about that. That's cool. And then you're saying at some point in year 2 or 3, keep an eye out for in year 3, look for that liquidation vote coming for your tranche of NFTs that you got.
And then I would buy the membership back in and become a voice.
Get the membership NFT again in year 3.
And champion the liquidation.
Vote, get the liquidation, and then roll that into phase 2.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I can't say much about the renewal part of the tranche, because literally we're not going to know the state of the market. If it's in the middle of a bull run, we may actually tell people, like, let's wait 6 months. I know you guys are all, but we know this is the worst time to buy. We know everything's overpriced. You know, like, wait 6 months. Let's let things calm down. Let's try to get back in at a good point.
Yeah, no, I agree. Also, I wanted to ask, the rewards, how are the rewards actually paid out?
Bitcoin.
Yeah.
They are paid out in Bitcoin to your actual Bitcoin wallet address.
Yeah, you'll log into your dashboard. It'll verify if you have the membership NFT and that it's active. From there, it will show you the current market value of the terahash that you hold being sold as miners. It'll show you your all-time rewards, and it'll show you your rewards since last payout.
And in that dashboard, that is where you will submit your Bitcoin wallet address.
Yes.
So that way you guys know where to send those rewards, right?
Yes. Correct. Yes.
If you don't set your Bitcoin address in the dashboard, you forget. Do your rewards accumulate?
They still accumulate.
And then when they put in that address, your system will recognize and send the accumulated rewards at that point at the next batch of rewards. Okay. All right, great. That's super cool that you guys are paying out in Bitcoin. I love that. That's makes my life easier. Awesome. All right, great. And the liquidation event, will those proceeds be paid out in Bitcoin as well to the same Bitcoin address?
Correct.
Nice. All right, great. So before I ask about the due diligence stuff real quick, do you guys have anything else hiding up your sleeves with your business plan?
No, again, we think simplicity is the most robust way to success. If you try to convolute it with staking and liquidity managers and protocols and kickbacks and rebates and referrals, like, it's nothing complex. It's something that the everyday person can pretty simply calculate for themselves, and it should be that way.
Awesome. All right, so I've got a couple questions about the team. So who all is on the core team, and what countries is everybody from?
Sure.
I'm Ethan, and although I tell all of us that we should all be project owners and that we're all the boss, for some reason everybody keeps putting that on my shoulders. But I never consider anybody, I'm above anybody in my organization. I think it's, you're only as good as the people that you're around, right? You can only be a better chess player if you play chess with people that are better than you. And I'd like to think that everybody in the organization has their own special skills that are above mine. And I guess one of my special skills is just being able to bring everybody together and get them all pointed in the same direction, on the same vision, and then maximizing their special abilities for that. So yeah, that's me. And then Saqib.
And what country? What country are you from?
I'm from the United States.
You're from the United States, and and also, do you live in UAE as well? Do you go?
I'm a resident of Dubai, so I spend half my time in Dubai, half my time in the United States. Well,
okay,
everywhere really. I go wherever business calls me. So
Okay.
Yeah, if I need to go to here or there, it's not uncommon for me to hop on a plane and be gone a couple of weeks in Barbados or wherever I'm called to.
And one of the reasons I'm asking the country thing is it not only is it interesting and it's fun to get to know people, but also what level of accountability is there in terms of like regulatory agencies wherever you're a citizen from. So I know in the U.S. In the U.S. you would be, if you did anything nefarious or like that, you could be under heavy legal accountability. So it's one of the reasons I asked this.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's,
if I decided to be a bad actor, I'm not hard at all to find my address or anything about me. It's not very hard to find. And we had people get upset in the past and threaten legal action. And then they would say, where should I send the summons? And I said, it's on your invoice.
Well, I had no problem in my due diligence. I had no problem finding you guys. You're very publicly doxed individuals and stuff. And that's always a relief in my job, interviewing DeFi and crypto entrepreneurs who a lot of times I probably turn down 18 out of 20 projects or companies that approach me to do videos. And a lot of the reasons are they're totally anonymous people with no accountability for what they're doing with other people's money. And
recently I read a news article about an influencer who was murdered and chopped up in a suitcase.
He also took a loan from an Argentinian gang, though. So I don't know if he was making the best business decisions in general. Or
I don't plan to be that guy. You're not gonna find me in a suitcase. Yeah. If you got a problem with me, let's work it out amicably. I'm a reasonable guy. I've got a good reputation, and there's a reason for that. It's because I know how to do business and do business the right way. Although there are some people that are still very unreasonable. But if you want to put the letter of the law on me, it's not hard to do.
All right, good to know. And Saqib, where are you from?
I'm from Bangladesh.
You've got dual citizenship.
Yeah, I'm American and also Bangladeshi. But cool. My family are from Bangladesh. Although we live in the UAE now, we're residents here. And my wife, my daughter Amira, she goes to school here. They all live here with me, my mom and my father-in-law. Yeah, we all live together.
So if it's Saqib that rugs us, I know where he lives, guys. All right. I'll show you exactly the school, everything. I know everything about this guy.
And all right, good to know. Now, who else is on the core team and what countries are they from?
Well, we've got, what is it, Andrew, I believe?
Yeah,
he's just a graphic designer. And then Caesar specializes specifically in the NFT contracts because our regular developer, VJ, he's out of Canada. He does more of our high-level technology stacks, and he wasn't really experienced with the nitty-gritty of doing the specific contracts. Mm-hmm. Caesar, we know, and we just simply hired him for this project, but been talking with VJ for the past week with his broken down laptop, unfortunately. And he's found another NFT because we don't see this as like the end of our NFT experience. Like there may be some other things in the NFT and DeFi space that we want to do. So we think it's important to have somebody full-time on. I'm going to be interviewing her this Friday and decide whether or not we're going to hire her on full-time.
All right, cool. All right. And are any of the core team members or anybody who would be, managing the company funds, are any of those team members KYC'd or publicly doxed in an easily verifiable way?
Behold the company funds.
Oh,
yeah. So early on in our organization, I made the decision to be the only holder because in the crypto space, shit can happen. Mm-hmm. Just shit can happen. And I didn't want to be in a situation where I'm like, Saqib, you put in the wrong address and we lost $50,000. You know, I didn't want to get in a situation where we could point fingers, things like that. The buck always stops with me. All right. I am the sole controller. Now, people ask what happens if you die.
Yeah, that's my next question. Do you have
there is a lawyer there, you know, there's a whole plan that goes in action the day I die.
Okay, good.
Don't kill me, folks.
Hopefully that doesn't happen, but I always have to ask the proverbial, if you get hit by the beer truck question, do you have a continuity plan for, you know, passing on the seed phrases in a controlled and safe manner to the next controlling director of the company, or however it works?
Yeah. So if in the unfortunate scenario that I were to be incapacitated or lost, immediately everything would go into Saqib's control. From there, if let's say hypothetically we were flying in a business trip and we were flying together and the plane crashed and we passed on together, from there everything would go into a trust fund that would be handled by my lawyer. And in that situation, that would probably be like the worst possible case scenarios if we both died simultaneously.
Absolutely.
Because then it would be up to my best friend's son, who would handle the closure of the estate and the closing and liquidation of the company. But there is provision there for, you know, any kind of communities or anything like that we develop, that the trust will pay them. They will be considered, creditors to the estate. So they will have a direct claim.
Okay. And that is way more thought out and configured than basically anybody I've ever asked. All right. So, you've already passed my gold standard of, do you have, is there somebody else on the team who could take over the wallet after, you know, a tragedy or something? And you've got at least 2 layers thought out beyond that with the lawyer and, you know, a trust and estate management and stuff. So that's far and beyond what I ever hear. So you're already like, you know,
it's kind of sad to say, but recently I've just lost a lot of people in my life, and I've actually had to be the administrator of several estates to close them. So I've learned a lot about the process, and I've learned a lot about the value of having a plan in action in place should that event happen. And so that's probably why I'm more prepared than most people are. But yeah, I mean, the buck stops with me. If a mistake is made in a transaction or something, we can't point fingers. I will accept full responsibility for it.
All right.
In terms of, you know, funds and everything for everybody.
Yeah. Well, that's
unless
very well
I pass away and then everything transferred to Saqib and then blame him. Don't blame me because I'm dead.
All right. And you heard it here first. All right. Now, how is the team compensated by the protocol?
10%.
Yeah, we get 10% of the mining yield.
Right. And is that the 10% to partners here?
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, great.
That goes to me and Saqib and our downline. If you're a little bit savvy with the news article, you can see that the actual power cost and the power cost we're giving you for this project, there's a slight delta in there. So that's another way that we're going to be generating revenue from this.
Good to know. And yeah, that's great. And I always ask that because I'm always looking to understand how this business is mutually incentivizing to not only the participants in the company, but also the team and the members of the company running the thing. I want everybody to have a win-win situation. So you guys are motivated to make this.
Why would we care about our community if it's not benefiting us, right? It has to be fiduciary.
For sure. The reason I ask that is because sometimes I'll be like, hey, how does the team get compensated? And they'll be like, we don't. We're doing this because we just want to make everybody else millionaires. And I'm just like, you're taking the money somehow then. And it makes me uneasy if I don't know how you're paying yourself to do all this time and work. So I'm glad you guys are very clear about that.
Here's the agreement, right? I'm helping you in ways A, B, and C. Let me explain to the community how you're helping me. All right. You're helping me because there's a slight delta in the power cost, our true power cost, and what we're charging you. There's a little room in there. So we're going to make a little money on that. We're going to get 10% of all the hashing that is generated from the tranches, right? And then the last one, you may not really see this, but this is really true to me because these are the kind of things that I think about at night and that are really important to me is you're going to be helping me with this charity and you're going to be helping animals. And that makes me feel good as a human being on this earth, right? That's more important to me than just the money. The money's great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to complain about it. But being able to help me start these charity initiatives, that's what's going to really bring happiness and joy to me in my life.
Yeah.
So community,
I can relate
that's what you're doing for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I started this business, because I could make more money right now as a software engineer. However, that can only scale so much. Whereas as an entrepreneur with a marketing platform in an emerging market that's extremely popular and coming into a next bull run, I could potentially be making millions of dollars a year.
You're going to be a millionaire. We'll get you there.
And do you know what I've got? I've already got my animal welfare charity set up. So that way, when I become that successful, I already know where all that's going. And I don't have to sit there and have those like moments where I have to like find myself and be like, what's important to me in life? I've already defined those values and what I want my legacy and my mission here to be. So that's cool that you guys have that already kind of figured out and baked in too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And for that reason, I also hope this is a wild success, because there's a need for this big time. And anybody that can chip in to helping with the animal welfare situation we've got in our world, I think I'd like to support them, especially if their efforts are earnest and everything. So yeah, very cool, man. All right, now security and safety, technical stuff. Do you guys have your NFT or other smart contracts audited, and if so, by whom?
So as I said before, we hired an outside developer that specialized in the contracts for this project, and that was then audited by both myself, who's also a full stack technology developer like you in a former life, and our chief technology officer VJ also did a secondary audit to mine. I don't really see any need. I mean, the contracts are quite simple. There's really no smoke and mirrors or anything going on with them. Yeah. What will probably need a more thorough audit, or that I think I would like a more thorough audit, would be what's going on with the dashboard. Obviously, with the dashboard, we're gonna have some technologies that could expose people's earnings or potential earnings. Somebody could possibly spoof, or maybe find a way to spoof that they have more NFTs than what they're having. But we'll deep dive into that when that gets built out.
Yeah. Okay, good to know. And with NFT projects like this, especially this is a centralized business, right? At the end of the day, all the participants in your company or club here are trusting you guys to manage and steward the funds appropriately, use them as best for the company and the project as a whole. So
absolutely.
With an NFT contract, they're usually pretty cut and dry. Like you can fork a known safe NFT contract, verify it, and then you're usually pretty good. But
now there is something that I want to let the community know. Since we've downsized this project from its initial concept, is we were going to do 50 megawatts. And I felt like just for the public to get their head around that and understand that, for us, it's simple, it's easy, but we just felt like it's maybe too much for the everyday person. So to simplify it, we made it just one single phase instead of the 10 phases. So by the time I think the clock counts down, that's when we're going to then initiate the rewritten second contract. So if you're looking or exploring the original contract, please understand that by the time that clock counts down, there will be the modified contract that is in line with our white paper. That's when it will be implemented.
Okay, and those are the sale contracts, right? For the
it just has to go with the distribution of the NFTs. Currently we just have the one phase, which is 5 tranches. Initially, we were going to have 5 or 10 phases with 5 tranches each. So you can see the scale of the contract was much bigger. So we just sized it down.
Okay, good to know. Now, do you guys don't have a multi-sig here? It's fully controlled by you, Ethan, right?
Yes. Everything goes through me.
All right. And we talked about the continuity plan. And okay, do you guys think your project would survive if this bear market continued for another year or 2? Or maybe
we
longer?
would probably be one of the last men, if not the last man standing.
True that. Yeah.
I think we're still profitable even if Bitcoin hits like $6,000. Yeah, we're still.
Well, no, because you're not thinking about underclocking, Saqib.
Yeah, I mean, even below that.
If Bitcoin, let's just say hypothetically, Bitcoin hit 6,000, we can underclock. What were we seeing the efficiencies with the S9s? We were seeing the efficiencies. I mean, they were 100 terahash from factory, but we saw people get down as low as 20. So they did a factor of 5, right? Yeah. So if we look at the modern chips at 28, so divide 28 by 5.
That's about 5 to 6 watts.
Yeah, it's under 6.
We could get to 6 watts per terahash. We could probably survive to about $1,000 or $800 Bitcoin.
What?
Yeah. If we underclocked with the cheap power. Now, you wouldn't be hashing much at all, but you would be getting, very little energy for each terahash. And we could probably make it survive all the way down to about $800 a Bitcoin, just off the top of my head.
And the rewards,
that's wild.
The rewards would probably be higher because the difficulty would be quite low.
Nobody would be we'd be the only.
Yeah.
We'd be that guy that's making 1 Bitcoin every day.
And that's the thing. A lot of people don't understand. As people drop out of the mining game, that difficulty comes down, I believe. And then you guys get that increased efficiency from other people leaving. And at some point, the difficulty goes down so much, people start coming back into it. And there's like that natural balance. But if you can be profitable through that whole thing, you get all that additional benefit that whole time that those other people aren't.
Yeah. So if you think of it as just like a big pie, right? Mm-hmm. And each person with a terahash gets a small slice of the pie. As people drop out, the pieces of the pie that people get per day get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So if you are one of the last miners standing in,
I mean, if it's just us and 5 other, then we're getting 1/5 of the pie every day.
Right. So that's very cool. So I guess my last question in this category is, what do you guys think personally is the biggest risk to participants in your project?
That they don't participate.
No, I don't accept that answer. Just because that's like going to a job interview and they're like, what do you think's your greatest weakness? That I work too hard. Like, that's the kind of answer.
No. Seriously, if I'm being honest, their biggest risk is themselves, right? You are your own worst enemy in this life, right? And there are many times that you've had opportunity. I mean, we all feel like we've known about Bitcoin for a long time, and we've all, why didn't I buy it when it was $5?
Yeah.
Why did I wait? And just don't be one of those people. Don't be one of those people that are living in constant regret because you didn't move, you didn't pull the trigger. Now is when people are the least optimistic about getting into Bitcoin, getting into the mining space. And they're like, oh, it may never go back up. This is the best time. This is the time. Learn from the experience of the past. This is the best time. Beyond that, a black swan event such as Saqib and I both simultaneously dying in a plane crash, that I don't think it would cause any loss, but it would definitely cause an inconvenience for the holders. The way I have everything worded with my will in probate is, to make it not a burden for anyone or anything upon my passing. But still, nonetheless, probate is a process, and it does take some time. So there may be a situation where, there's 30, 60 days. People are like, what's going on? What's happening? Before the lawyer can go out, make a statement, make an announcement.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I mean, yeah, that would be the worst possible case scenario that I could think of. Or there may even be a period of time, like, so it says in my will that everything has to be liquidated, right? So we can't keep these farms. They will have to be put out on the market. They'll have to be sold. They'll probably be bought up by Mike Foundry. Listening to me? Okay. I'll let you get first in line. I'll put that in the will. And it'll have to be evaluated for its market value and sold at a fair price. And that might take some time just to get all those funds together and get everybody paid out. That would probably be the worst possible thing.
Yeah. Okay. Saqib, what do you think? Do you agree, or do you have any other thoughts on that?
I agree. And the only other thing I can think that would be, any risk at all is if you think that Bitcoin itself has any risk. I mean, yes, it's only been around for almost 15 years now, but I mean, anything can happen. Like, at the end of the day, if the world's electricity shuts down, I mean, yes, we have
World War III. I mean, that would suck.
Yeah,
that would suck real bad.
But that wouldn't just affect our project. I mean, it would, and then Bitcoin, it would affect pretty much everything. And your priority.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking very specifically, like, what could only affect our project.
Right.
Obviously, there are many scenarios of world wars and things like that would make life hell for everybody.
So, like, macro environmental factors outside of your control, in the market and the world, political, peace situation, things like that.
Sure.
And worst case scenario, which would be very unlikely, is if something happened to all you guys at the same time, and there's some liquidation event that would, obviously stop the business plan as well. But aside from those, and maybe if on the off chance there's some jurisdictional risk in UAE if something changed, but in the time that this business will be running, I don't think they would be changing their stance on crypto right now.
We don't see that. I mean, if anything, they're actually doing the opposite. I mean, this is the only country where we're able to talk directly with the heads of the power company, and we're able to transparently say, this is what we want to do. And instead of them saying, oh, that's not a good idea, they're doing the opposite. They're like, well, let's meet together. Let me call in these experts. Let's call in these contractors. Let's see how we can accommodate this. And that's kind of what really surprised me. Remember when you had that meeting with the head of the power company, Saqib? It's just like how accommodating they were. It wasn't in the US, you tell a power company, I'm going to do Bitcoin mining, and they do like the, and you can just see like the dollar signs coming out of their head and stuff, because they know they're going to put, surcharges. There's going to be a line transmission, they're going to just nickel and dime the crap out of you. These guys didn't do that at all, and they're very aware. Like, I was surprised they were so knowledgeable. They didn't they say something like, "What took you so long?"
Yeah,
or something like that. Yeah. We were like, man, we weren't trying to delay anything here.
I agree. It's a risk potentially, but I think UAE is one of probably the most crypto friendly countries in the world right now. They want the crypto businesses to come to them. So the next decade, I think, is going to be amazing there.
I think just yesterday they gave Binance an operating license for institutional. institutional clients. So.
Wow.
And we plan to be strategically working with companies like Binance, to help with our back end transfers to users.
Mm-hmm.
That's another great thing about Dubai is it's such a small place, right? It's not huge like New York. It's really small, and you can rub elbows with CZ. You can rub elbows with, really big, powerful people pretty easily there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that affords us a lot of unique opportunities, as just to be able to collaborate and work with them. And as I mentioned, that's why we're considering having a full-time NFT developer in-house with us, because we don't just see the end of the road, starting with mining and ending with mining. We want to maximize every potential that we can from mining.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now, okay, I think that was those are some good answers there. Now, in conclusion, I guess I kind of want to ask, where do you guys see this project in first 6 months to a year?
In 6 months, we need to be mining.
Okay.
Yeah, in 6 months, we need to be mining to take advantage of everything before the halvening. Hopefully, Tranche 1 is going to sell out. I don't know if 14 days is enough time. We've made a lot of AMA videos, a lot of promotional videos. We've actually had one guy take our money and run. He's completely ghosted us. He's not talking to us. And he's a pretty prominent guy, so we're really surprised about this.
Whoa, you'll have to talk to me about that behind the scenes. Yeah, I'd like to know more about that. Because it's like a code of honor out here in our circle. So that kind of stuff is treacherous if somebody does something like that.
Yeah,
it's good to know who to kind of be careful around.
Yeah, it's kind of disheartening. But we're doing everything we can to get the word out, and it should. We're just one person. I'm just one person. Saqib's just one person. But to all of you out there in the audience, if you think this is a good project and you believe in this, please don't hesitate. Tell your friends. Tell the people in your circles that might take us 6 months to find. They say there's only 7 degrees of separation, right? There's only 7 people between you and anyone else in the world, and if everybody really just puts in a little bit of effort and does their part, then this should be easy, piece of cake, to fill out these 5 tranches. And I may go back and revisit and do the 10 phases where we can get thousands and thousands of people involved. But it's humble beginnings now. We're doing everything we can to get the word out, and time is not our friend. We've got to be mining. We've got to be mining in 6 months, one way or the other. We'd love to have you on, but if by chance you just couldn't make it, then that's okay.
I will do my best. I like I said, I want to have exposure to each one of these mining projects that I like. And there are some I like, some I don't, right? But like Mineopoly, and this is full disclosure, I always try to disclaim these things, and these guys did not pay me to say this part. They paid me for my time to make this video, right? But they don't. I made it very clear. I'm not going to shill or pump your project up.
No.
But if I like your project, I'll be honest about that and transparent, because I want to be as forthcoming with my audience about that stuff as possible. So what I've heard so far, doing a fundamental analysis on your business and doing my due diligence, about 20 hours worth before I even started recording this, and my pre-interviews with you guys, I really like Mineopoly. It seems like a very solid business plan. You guys seem like you're competent business executives to execute on this business plan, and I think you have set yourself up in a very favorable location and jurisdiction with probably the best electricity rate I've ever heard of.
Best grid power I've ever seen. The big institutions that are buying power futures and leveraging, I don't even think they're getting to that level.
No, this is wild. So I definitely want to have exposure to this in my little basket of mining companies and projects, because I always try to spread out my risk. This is DeFi startup incubator that we're in, and I want exposure to things that could become unicorns or could 10, 20, 100x. Even if half of the companies or projects in my startup DeFi portfolio fail, if just a couple succeed, then I'm going to be way up in the grand scheme of things. So I like to spread out my risk. I don't go all in, but I will definitely be looking at how to convince my wife to let me move around some of the household funds for another DeFi play here. So full transparency, I'm going to try to pick one up at the 420 price. I don't think that'll be a hard sell, even though she won't understand half the things I'm talking about because she has no interest in this for some reason. But bless her soul, she's the best damn animal rescuer I've ever met. So anyway, so yeah, that's my full transparency right there, guys. Also, where do you guys see this project in 3 to 5 years?
So in 3 years, hopefully we will have our first liquidation event. Most likely it will be with all 5 tranches. And we'll be evaluating the market, whether or not it's a good time to re-enter. Sometimes you can get in a situation where halfway through the bull run, you can liquidate and then you can reinstate with newer, more efficient machines and then ride it the rest of the way up and do it again. So you can kind of get like a double. Yeah. I don't know if that's going to be possible or not, but that's the possibility we're going to be considering 3 years from now.
Okay.
And then 5 to 6 years, hopefully we will be, again, mining very profitably with refreshed tranches for everybody.
Yes.
Awesome. So, yeah, that's right in line with your white paper and roadmap. Makes a lot of sense to me. This is one of the easiest business plans to understand that I've looked at, and that's a good sign for me. If I'm, if people try to dazzle me with smoke and mirrors and super in-depth white papers and business plans, I'm kind of wondering, like, what are you doing? Why have you overcomplicated things? So you've kept it so simple. You focused on your advantages. You've really drilled down on your strengths and are leveraging those to the best of your ability. Now, I guess the next thing is just to get the word out and let people know who are interested in mining companies that Mineopoly is open for business now. So, assuming you guys do, after Tranche 1 closes in 14 days or so, when can people realistically expect rewards to start hitting their Bitcoin wallet?
So let's say Tranche 1 closes in 14 days and it fills.
Yeah.
At that point, you would be looking at 90 days plus. 90 days plus. And again, the factor here is just how long it takes to get the power upgrade. Yeah. Everything else can be done within that time. The structure can be built. The miners will be shipped and arrive. The land lease, all those things will happen relatively quickly. It's just the power upgrade that we're beholden to that we'd have to wait.
So ideally, we'd be looking at like November, December, ideally, like 3 months. November-ish, December.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you'd be looking at November, December.
Okay.
Is when payouts would become. In a worst possible case scenario, let's say Tranche 1 only gets 100 NFTs, Tranche 2 only gets 100 NFTs, Tranche 3 only gets 100 NFTs, so on and so forth. So all in, we've only sold 500 NFTs, which isn't enough to even justify, upgrading power, anything like that. At that point, we would then start utilizing our own existing infrastructure and operations.
Okay.
So we would have to order the machines. Probably, I would start calling it on the third tranche. I'd like Saqib. I don't think this is going to hit the numbers that we need. So on the third tranche, that's when we would start coordinating the ordering of the machines in Tranche 1 and Tranche 2. Getting those en route to UAE. And then, by the end of Tranche 5, at least Tranche 1, 2, and 3 would probably be ready to plug in by that time. There's so many different ways it could play out. It could be Tranche
I'm glad
1, 2,
you've gamed
3,
out these contingencies. Yeah.
They do nothing, but then Tranche 5 sells out. So, we don't want to jump the gun, but we also want to make sure that we're minimalizing the downtime because we understand the value of the time that's lost with the halvening coming.
Yeah.
So like I said, by the time we got to the last tranches 4 and 5, that's when I would call it for 1, 2, and 3. We go ahead and place the order for the machines, get those en route. And so by the time Tranche 5 clocked out, those machines would be turn on ready. Tranche 1 would have to wait the longest. That's why their NFT is the cheapest. And they'd be looking at, 100 to 108 days, 110 days, something like that is what their maximum wait would be.
Okay, good to know. And it's a double-edged sword in this market right now, because if you're building your business, you're getting those cheap miners, you're getting everything set up at the ideal time that we just looked at on that stock to flow chart. However, people in DeFi are, some people are leaving or not interested at the moment, but then as soon as that bull market starts coming back around, probably in the next year or so,
the bull market, people are going to probably be threatening us to open Monopoly back up so they can buy in. But unfortunately,
that's what's going to happen.
Monopoly will be closed. It'll be open for the community, everybody that's joining now, and you guys are all going to be smiling. And that's why, we wanted to give the users the opportunity. It's your NFT. You can sell it.
And where would this be available to buy and sell them? On OpenSea. Okay.
Now we're hoping down the road to make our own marketplace, and that's why having a membership gives you access to that marketplace. But you're not beholden to our marketplace. Like, nothing is going to keep you. Nothing proprietary is going to force you to be with us.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, I think next bull run, people are going to be like, "Oh, I wish I could have bought those at."
And you can say, I've got 10, I'll sell them to you for $1,000 a piece. You can do things like that.
For sure. So I'm excited about this. I'm building out my portfolio of mining companies right now. This one fits in perfectly. I'll probably scoop as many of these up as I can afford. And obviously, everybody do your own research. Watch this AMA a few times. If you didn't understand things, read the white paper, talk to your lawyer and accountant, yada, 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 for your jurisdiction, wherever you are in the world. Right. Make sure it's right for your situation, taxes, whatever. Know what you're doing out here in crypto. I am just a TV show host that loves interviewing entrepreneurs and software developers in the coolest space in town. So that's all I got for you guys. Do you have anything else that you want to tell the audience today?
Yeah, don't put your life savings into anything. Just don't do it. It's a bad move. Don't take out loans. Don't spend credit cards. Don't go into debt. And that's why we won't accept credit cards. We're not going to put people in it. Be reasonable. If you're struggling in life, I understand it's hard and the chips are down. And if you got to choose between your kids' Christmas presents or this $420 NFT, get your kids the presents. Don't buy my NFT. Don't do it.
I appreciate you saying all that, because I have talked to people who are like, mortgage your house, go sell all your other positions, go all in on my project. And I'm just like, goodbye. That's reckless. That's so reckless. Oh man. Yeah. So I'm glad you guys are very upfront about fiscal responsibility and personal finance. This should be fun at the end of the day. Let me
do offer this out though. Like if you are passionate about the mining space and you are struggling and on hard times, reach out to me. There may be, I know a lot of people in the industry. I may be able to get you a better job or get you into this to not a handout, but a hand up, a way to get in this industry and help it grow. To where you can do what you love and make money. Money is a side effect if you're doing what you love in this industry. It comes naturally.
Yeah. If you work hard and you're not out here being malicious, opportunities are just everywhere. It's really amazing. And it's like you said, it's who you know. Your network is your network, all that. And if anybody also isn't in the YaBonks community too, join us on Discord. We have a jobs channel, and I help people get jobs out here every week. Good, hardworking folks looking for an opportunity to work out here, and it changes lives. And that feels so good to be able to not just give a handout, but to give a hand up and give somebody the opportunity to prove that they can be successful of their own merits and hard work. So I love that. And I'll reach out to you too, Ethan. I'm always trying to place people that I think are decent folks out here in different opportunities when they need them. And I'm sure we can work together in helping people find economic prosperity in the space.
I'd love that. I'd love to do that.
Yeah. Well, you guys, that's all I got. So where can people find you again?
You can find us in our Discord channel. Saqib, I think you can give the links so that can be included with the video.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that's the easiest way. We also have a Twitter as well. Saqib kind of handles the media and the marketing more than I do, so I'll let him.
Yeah,
Sounds
we
good.
have. I'll share the Discord link with you, so that way you can share it on the channel, and also our Twitter as well.
Sounds good. And you can find their website at mineopoly.io, mineopoly.io. And they're at on Twitter at twitter.com/mineopoly_io. I'll have all the links, including the Discord server, in the description of this video. I'll also pin some of those links to the comments here. If you guys have any questions for me, reach out to me. These guys are also very easy to reach out to in their Discord server. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys. If you haven't, make sure to like the video. It helps the algorithm. It'll help people hear about this video. Leave a comment if you have any questions, and make sure to subscribe to the channel and check me out on Discord at discord.gg/YaBonks. We do giveaways, and you'll find a channel in there. After I'm done publishing this video, I will make a Mineopoly channel in my Discord server, and I will follow your announcements in my server as well. So my community will be able to follow all of your announcements from my community, just in case they're not paying attention in your server and all that. And I'll make sure you guys are in there. So if anybody wants to ping you from my server, they'll be able to do that. So yeah, you guys, thank you so much, Ethan, Saqib, and Justin. I know he had to drop off. Thank you guys so much for all the time you guys put into working with me to do this AMA to the best effort possible with me. I think this has turned out really well, super educational and informative. Yeah, that's all I got. You guys, anything else you want to say?
No, thank you. It's been great talking with you.
Likewise. Yeah.
All right. And thank you, audience, for watching and for all of your time and attention. I'll see you on the next one. See ya.
See ya.
See ya.